What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Not So Pro Football Talk. It's Tuesday, it's 6 o'clock, so you know what that means. It's time for some fantasy football talk. It is my favorite day of the week. Unfortunately, Reed could not join us today, but we do have Vince here, so do not worry. We do get to skip a week of Tanyan's Corner, or whatever he wants to call it. Okay, we're not going to give you advice to get you Tanyan. We got some much better stuff here. Much
You know,
better.
you know what I want to do, AJ. Since it's just me and you, like old times.
Ooh, what do you want to do?
I want to bring back this jam back
No,
here.
oh my, look at that, dude. Oh man, for all you originals out there, this was our original back screen for NSP Fantasy Football Talk when it was just Vince and I, which was still in the works. But hey, I'll roll with it if you guys are willing to. I mean, why not, right?
Let's just try it out. See if the fans like it.
Yeah. I do want to reiterate last week we hit pretty well on most of our talks, especially talks like around Josh Jacobs. I'll even throw in James Conner in there, even though he got injured. He did get a reliable 10 points as a flex position back. We did miss on one guy. We missed on J.K. Dobbins, which was kind of weird. He had the attempts. He just didn't have the yards. He didn't have the big plays. I wouldn't worry too much, so I'm not going to hit the panic button on him. So I wouldn't necessarily release him. So just stay calm and Hodor. So that's what I like to say nowadays. But let's get into it this week. This week we're always going to start off with quarterbacks, and I am not too fond of the quarterbacks that I am choosing for my waiver wire pickups. I never thought in the past 3 years that these two guys will be on will be the only quarterbacks to pick up, really. So
I
I'm going
know.
to start off with my very own Jimmy G, also known as Dreamy Garoppolo. So I have Jimmy G there to pick up only because he's only rostered in 19.3% of leagues. He's been averaging 14 points these past two games. So you know what? He hasn't been playing bad. He hasn't thrown a pick. So I'm like, holding my breath, okay, because that's not normal. He has not thrown a pick and he has not played bad. And the only reason why I have him on here is because next week they're going against the Atlanta Falcons, who are known not to have the strongest of defenses. I do feel like he will put up a 15 to 20-point game against the Falcons. So I have him here on a waiver wire pickup just in case you do need a quarterback. He is not a seasoned quarterback, okay? He is a week 6 quarterback, and then we'll see what happens from there. We'll play it week to week. But Vince, who do you got for quarterbacks here?
Well, man, I think since you talked about Dreamer Garoppolo, I gotta talk about Geno Don't Call Back Smith over here. Because it's crazy, man. I believe like week 2, week 3, I said, hey, he's not going to continue this trend, and he's been proving even myself wrong, and I'm a big Seahawks fan. But Geno Smith is just balling out. It's his second week that he's the only quarterback to be in the 90 club or whatever for the PFR rating or PFF ratings.
Mhm.
Uh, so I think that's pretty cool. Geno Smith is just doing good. He had 2 bombs to Tyler Lockett this past week. And I think that's going to continue against the Cardinals. Even though the Cardinals are the number 12th ranked defense on fantasy against wide receivers, they're 25th ranked against quarterbacks. And right now, Geno Smith has one of the best, or he has the best QBR rating for the season as of quarterbacks. So I think he might do pretty well against the Cardinals. It's going to be a lower scoring game than people are thinking, just because it is a head-to-head matchup between some division rivals. So I don't think that Geno Smith is going to have a day like he did last week, where he had 28 points.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But he will be in the 20s. He will get some touchdowns, and in my opinion, I think he's going to be relying a lot on Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, even though that the Cardinals defense is pretty decent at the safety spot. But yeah.
So I wanna add in my input about Geno Smith, and it's okay. A lot of people might not agree with me, but this is just my perspective of things, and I could be 100% wrong. Of course, he has changed the atmosphere over there in Seattle, and he has proved everyone wrong already. But Geno Smith has had one game under 17 points, and that game was against the 49ers, which is by easily a top 5 defense. They actually ranked one, but that's not the point here. he scored under 17 points. He did not do very well that game. I think Geno Smith is a matchup quarterback. So you got to play him depending on the matchup. I do feel like it's going to be a little challenging for him going against Arizona. They do have a stronger defense than the Saints, than the Broncos, than the Lions. Do I still think he's going to score about 15 points? Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be there. But I just think you have to keep a close eye on him. You might see him or might view him as sort of like a Jared Goff. Jared Goff he started off super hot, and then all of a sudden last week he just laid a dud. This might happen with Geno Smith. I'm not saying it is going to happen, but from the way I've seen things, I think you should play him with the matchup. Same thing with Jimmy G, like I said earlier. But that's just my input. I just want to have it there in the record, and I could be 100% wrong. And for your sake, Vince, I hope I am.
Yeah, man. All I know is just the next 3 games for matchups. He has a good, decent chance in scoring in the 20s. We got the Cardinals, we got the Chargers, and then we got the Giants, who are probably – the Giants are going to be our toughest one probably. Mm-hmm. They're decent, especially in the cornerback position. They got some guys over there that are doing really, really well. But other than that, I say he's a starter for the next 2 weeks. But I do agree with you, AJ. I think it is based upon matchup. I did think that he was going to do worse against the Broncos, but he balled out. So I wasn't complaining there. But, yeah, Geno Smith is definitely a week-to-week guy. Don't see him being a season-long option.
Nice. I mean, that's all I got for quarterbacks. Did you have anyone else? I really don't have much here. I don't like any of them. I mean, I know Carson Wentz is still available in a lot of leagues, but I'm still not convinced. And, yeah, it's just too inconsistent. That's what I don't like. And we're trying to match up for week 6, and I don't think that's going to be a great matchup for Carson Wentz. So let's go ahead and move on to running backs. One running back that I was also wrong on was my old back from San Fran, Raheem the Dream Moster. He's out there in Miami. Last week, I did say that Miami's running a 2-headed monster, so it's 50-50 whether Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds. If Chase Edmonds is going to have a ball-out game or Raheem's going to have a ball-out game. Last week, it was clear as day. It's Raheem Moster. They transition. I don't know if Mike McDaniel is still holding on to the pass and loves his guy Raheem, but Raheem Moster, it is now the lead back for Miami, and it's just insane. I don't know if you had a chance to see the numbers. I got the numbers right here in my notes that I make every single week, which is available to anyone out there. So just DM us, and we could get you those notes whenever you like, free of charge. But I have these numbers right here. Raheem Mostert led in carries and in snaps. He had 18 carries with 46 snaps. The next guy behind him was Myles Gaskin with 4 carries and 13 snaps. That's a huge jump. Chase Edmonds had 3 carries for 10 snaps. I mean, he's taking over 50% of the snaps there. He's taking over 60% of the snaps there. This guy is the lead back. Obviously, they trust him. They're using him for pass catching downs. It's insane. I've never seen Raheem just thrive there. Of course, he doesn't have the wheels like he used to, but they love him over there. And it looks like the team loves him. The chemistry's there. And without a QB, they have to rely on someone in the backfield. And right now, it's Raheem. So if he's available, in less than 50% of leagues. He's available in 47% of leagues. If he's out there, go get him. Go get him. You can't lose, even for a flex spot or just so you can sit pretty in your bench so no one else scores that much on you. Go get this guy.
Yeah, man, I agree. He had a day.
yeah, he did. Oh, man.
One guy I want to talk about, and I know you had him on your sheet, AJ, but I really like him. I just love Kenneth Walker right now. He came in when Rashad Penny he fractured his fibula and he fractured his tibia as well. Crawled up the field. It was horrible. I was almost in tears. I was like, no. I was like, this was supposed to be his season, But again, football is football. It happens. But Kenneth Walker came in and he did phenomenal against a defense who is very tough against running backs. He had 8 carries for 88 yards on the ground. So he was averaging 11 yards per carry. Like you said yesterday, AJ, he didn't have any pass catching. But then again, he came in, I believe, after halftime. And that's when he got the bulk of his carries. It was a pretty close game throughout. So Geno was really looking downfield for Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. He wasn't utilizing any of his tight ends this game because New Orleans was good against tight ends. So they had those linebackers running all over the field. They had guys coming down in the flats and stuff like that. So they were covering that. But it was a good game overall, and I think Kenneth Walker is going to slide into Rashad Penny's position really good. But also look for DJ Dallas to get some pass catching opportunities. He will be coming in until Kenneth Walker slides into that role as well, where he comes a 3-down back. But I think Kenneth Walker is going to be a guy who's going to be solely rushing and a few attempts here and there passing. Hopefully he does get that catching under control and stuff like that. But so far from what I've seen in the practice, he's been doing well. He's been taking all the first team snaps right now. So Kenneth Walker is going to be the guy in Seattle as of running purposes.
I like that. And here are my notes. I have Kenneth Walker as my blue chip player of week 6. Of course, I didn't want to steal that from you, Vince. But all right, here are my notes. I put, hopefully you guys listened to me pre-draft and drafted Kenneth Walker late in the draft. And I mean, maybe last pick of the draft, second to last pick of the draft. That's where I was taking him. I was like, you guys need to take this guy. I also named James Cook. Hasn't already worked out just yet, but I said Kenneth Walker is the dude. I love Rashad Penny, and I said this like 2 weeks ago. I love Rashad Penny. He is an athlete that could lead the whole NFL as a running back, but if history repeats itself, which I do believe it will, he will struggle through some injuries. Something's going to happen where he's going to miss time, and that's why they got Kenneth Walker. That's why they got him so high. I mean, he's a stud of a back, and he's there because Penny cannot stay healthy. And unfortunately, it happened again. Now Kenneth Walker is available. He's only taken up in 37.5% of leagues. This is your top priority in your waiver wire. The top priority. This guy, I'm saying it right now, he is a league winner. League winner. Okay, he's not a flex position. He's not a low-tier running back 2. He is a running back 1, high-end running back 2, and he will lead your team to some wins. It's going to help out, especially with Rashad Penny out for the whole season. Go get this guy. Top of the priority list. Top over anything. I don't care if you don't have any quarterbacks. Get this guy first. Okay. But
yeah, man, I was just impressed with his ball carrying vision. It was insane when he was running through those gaps like that. And they were all inside runs too. That's what really impressed me.
I hated him in Michigan State. Absolutely hated him. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's a good pick there, Vince. Another guy that I want to talk about, I'm not very high on him. But his name is Eno Benjamin. I put him on here because he is owned in less than 1% of leagues. I think you should get him for week 6. I'm saying week 6, okay? Because James Conner left the game early. Williams, that's the second guy, right? Yeah, I got it right here. Daryl Williams has a knee injury. Jonathan Ward hurt his hamstring. 3 out of 4 running backs are going to be gone. And if they all do not play week 6, they're going to be forced to use this guy, Eno Benjamin, who already scored 14 points week 5 when Connor left the game. So you best believe that week 6, let's say you're in trouble at running back position. Let's say you got Jonathan Taylor, who's still not all there. Let's say you got Naji Harris. You want to experiment. Go get Eno Benjamin. Go get him. He's going to rack up some points just because they have no other option. Even if James Conner is going to play, I think he'll be in limited snaps, leaving Eno Benjamin to get the majority. So I don't know what else to say. They got no other backs. They got this guy, and that's it.
Hey, man, that's how it goes. Another guy who's the number 2 who I want to talk about, his name is Mike Boone, and AJ talked about him last week. And I didn't really believe him. I didn't think that Boone was going to get that many carries because I thought Melvin Gordon was going to take the cake. But Melvin Gordon is already struggling with injuries. He's not going to be a guy who's going to be a 3-down back. He can't play the whole game, especially when Russell Wilson can't get anything going, and that line is horrendous. But Mike Boone made the most of his opportunities. He only had 7 carries, 38 yards, and he also had 3 passes thrown to him and he caught them all for 47 yards. So he scored 13.8 points. And what's really, really good is their next 3 matchups are defenses that are not ranked high against running backs. So look for him and Melvin Gordon to be having some days. I think that Mike Boone will get more opportunities to show why he should fight for that number 1 spot. Mike Boone is a guy who has a big boom opportunity and a really low bust opportunity because he's going to be getting carries. He's the number 2 back, and you know that there in Denver they like to run the two-headed monster at the running back position. It's just a shame that Javonte is injured and he's not injured reserve because he was a high pick for a lot of people. But look for Mike Boone if you really need someone. But yeah, in my opinion, I think he's going to have a breakout season this year.
Yeah, he was a high pick for me. I was very high on this guy, and I was excited. And he started off great, but like I said, injuries are just freak, man. You don't know what's going to happen. It's part of the game. Melvin Gordon's high up there as well. People are saying to start that guy just because of matchups. But yeah, if you got an opportunity for Mike Boone, take a chance. Why not? I have a guy who I'm also not very high on. You got to remember, if we're making these videos for waiver wire pickups, we're trying to make sure that these guys are available for you guys. Okay, we're not going to be like, oh, we got to get Naji Harris. He's owning 80% of leagues. You got to get this guy. You got to get Melvin Gordon. He's owning 87% of leagues. And we're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to give everyone a chance here, especially the guys who are struggling. Even if you're not struggling, these are the type of guys to hold on to because they might break out later on, and we will explain in depth on why we think they will. So another guy that I have is Jayden Warren. Now, who is Jayden Warren? Jayden Warren is the backup running back for Pittsburgh. Now, Naji Harris has kind of shit the bed this whole season. He hasn't been playing that well, and we've been very high on him. But ever since, the QB switch, ever since the change of pace in the offense, he hasn't been there. Now, last week, we saw something very weird. We saw Jaylen Warren take more snaps than Naji Harris. Not by a lot. He only took one more snap than Naji Harris. And it looks like he's getting more involved than Naji. I think that's super weird, okay? You got a vet guy like Naji Harris out there. Well, I don't want to say vet, but a guy who's proven himself. Of course, he is dealing with some injuries like we've spoken about throughout the season. I think it's time to start to worry. Now, Jaylen Warren, he's owning less than 1%. He's owning less than 1% of leagues.
Yeah.
This guy is a low risk, high reward factor. What I mean by that is he could be nothing. Just like what I said last week, like what I said 2 weeks ago, George Pickens, he could be nothing, but there's a possibility where he could be the lead in whatever position that he's in. Now, Jaylen Warren has that possibility to become the lead back for Pittsburgh. So I say if you have room on your bench, if you have room on your roster, or if you are desperate, take a chance. Low risk, high reward. Take them while you can.
Yeah, man. Another guy who's really low risk, in my opinion, and nobody's really talking about him. It was this guy who had some problems before the season. I believe he is a rookie, and his NFL debut was this past Sunday. Brian Robinson plays for the Commanders. He had a tragic incident where he was part of a burglary incident. He did get shot in the leg twice. So that was horrible in the beginning of the season. I know the Commanders were very saddened by this. But Brian Robinson right now, he had 9 carries for, I believe, 22 yards. And I'm not saying that he's going to be amazing. Let's answer this question real fast. Would you trade Camara, Hopkins for Aaron Jones and Sutton? Nope.
No. Appreciate you, A. That's your name. Appreciate you, A, for joining us live here on Not So Pro Fantasy Football Talk. We go live every Tuesday for Fantasy Football Talk at 6 o'clock. Would you trade Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Hopkins for Aaron Jones and Sutton in full PPR? Absolutely not. Get out of that trade. If they propose it to you, they're trying to take advantage of you. Kamara, don't hit the panic button. He did have a great game. They're going to be utilizing him more, even with Chris Olave coming back, even with Michael Thomas coming back. And D-Hop, you best believe he's that wide receiver 1 once he gets back. Remember, it is a non-injury related suspension. So he's ready to go. And once he gets back, they're going to be force-feeding him the ball, especially in a PPR league. They're going to be getting the targets, and Hopkins especially will be getting the receptions. So I would say don't make that trade. Stay calm. And either counter with a better trade because you can't get rid of those players, or just keep those guys because I like those guys. I would have traded them for Jones and Sutton. We have another question here. Booze Lizard. I like that name. pretty good name, man. Appreciate you joining us live here on Not So Pro Fantasy Football Talk. Would you drop Brian Robinson and put Claim or Kenneth, or put Claim? He meant Claim.
Yeah.
Claim on Kenneth Walker. Okay, so we just talked about Brian Robinson, right? And Vince did a very good job. You know, he did get injured right before the season started, and he's supposed to be that lead back over there for Washington. Now, this is my input on this. Brian Robertson, he's in a community running back team. So they're going to be utilizing him. They're going to be utilizing J.D. McKissick. They're going to be utilizing Antonio Gibson, all three of them. So Kenneth Walker, like we said before, get him now. He should be on top of your priority list. He will be a league winner. He's going to be racking up all the points. Will be the absolute bell cow of that offense over there for Seattle. So 100% yes. Go get Kenneth Walker. Forget Robinson. I'm not saying he's not going to have any upside, but Kenneth Walker is going to be a league winner. High on that priority list. Very top, my guy. Appreciate you being here. We got another question. Here we go. I have an offer from someone. Trade away JT, Pitts, receive Godwin and Swift. Would you do it? RBs are Barkley, JT Hall, Pierce, and Robinson. Wide receivers are Monron, Sutton, Olave, and Samuel. I hope you mean Deebo Samuel, but Curtis Samuel's not bad as well. Tight ends is Pitts and Njoku. I like Njoku over Pitts right now. But about this trade, JT and Pitts for Godwin and Swift. Now, JT, a lot of people are selling him pretty low. I do feel like he's going to have a very high upside, right? But it is a poor offense. I don't like it whatsoever. I do feel like he will be the guy getting the carries and he will be the guy getting the low targets. So if it's in a full PPR, JT is on a tier. He dropped down to tier 2. JT's tier 2. Godwin, he is on the rise. I do like him. I like how consistent he's going to be. So even when you have Mike Edmonds on the team, Godwin's going to consistently be getting 10 to 15 points each and every week, and that's what I love. Pitts, sell high on that guy. Pitts for Swift. I like Swift a lot. Once he comes back, you know, it's going to be his time again. Yes, he does get vultured and gets taken away a lot of those red zone opportunities, but he's still the running back one. Allow him to get healthy. He's probably not going to play this week, and then they have a bye week after that, so he's going to come back fully healthy, no injuries to linger around. Honestly, my man, you have Saquon Barkley and you have Hall. Those are running backs 1 and 2. If you get Swift,
Pierce also,
and he has Dameon Pierce, and he has Robinson. What are you in a 6-man league? What is going on? Honestly, if you have a great record, I think I'll take it. You get 2 for 1, in my opinion. JT is a great back, which can help you out a lot, but you got some good backs already. What do you think, Vince? This is a pretty decent trade.
Yeah, it's a decent trade. I think Godwin is going to have some games where he takes over Mike Evans. He's going to score like 20 points in some of them. Swift is going to come back, and he's most likely going to slide back into that number 1 spot. We saw how they talked about him on Hard Knocks. He's a special guy. He's got special talent. So he will come back, and he will get games where he scores 15, 20, maybe even the 25, 30 range sometimes. Just depends on how they're doing and if that offense is going to stay hot. Pitts, I've really fallen off with him. I don't believe in him. If you can trade him for someone like Godwin or Swift and that person bites, that's awesome. But in my opinion, I think you keep JT. I think AJ said it best. He's the only guy on that team besides Pittman who's going to get the ball. And I think he's going to stay healthy because they're not utilizing him as much as they did last year. So it'd be very, very wild to see him go down with an injury. Of course, football always happens. Any of these guys on your team can get injured. But I think JT is a little bit more valuable. Wait till he pops off a little bit, and maybe you can get even more for him. But if you can get a switch with Pitts and someone like Godwin and Swift, I say you do that for sure. Because I don't think Pitts is going to have any games that make up for what he's done so far this season.
So now we're getting a lot of questions rolling in. Just want to say appreciate everyone being here live. If you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Honestly, we go live every Tuesday at 6 o'clock for Fantasy Football Talk, and we'll be more than happy to share some information on fantasy football. I'm in 4 leagues. I'm undefeated in 3. Yeah, believe it or not, but not too bad, not too shabby. We got a question. Should I keep Joe Montana? Of course you should keep Joe Montana. Best quarterback to ever live, to ever play the game. Jeb Armstrong, appreciate you being here, my guy. It says, hey, guys, I'm being offered Aaron Jones and Gabe Davis for Jonathan Taylor. Should I accept? My current starting wide receivers are Sutton and Godwin. My other starting running backs are Barkley and Hall. Another Barkley and Hall combo. My goodness. I'm pretty sure you drafted them low, very high. We talked about this pre-draft, but let's go back to the whole trade. Aaron Jones and Gabe Davis for Jonathan Taylor. Gabe Davis had a freak game, okay? He had a freak game. He was in the right place, right time. Isaiah McKenzie was injured that game as well. But not saying Gabe Davis is not going to be good. He's just going to be on and off, and he's not going to have another game like he did last week. Aaron Jones, I still think that A.J. Dillon's going to be sharing the workload, but Jonathan Taylor is worth way more than Gabe Davis and Aaron Jones. I say deny that trade.
Yeah, I would say deny it. I don't think Gabe Davis is going to have any more games like that. It'd be very rare to see it, but the Bills are a high-powered offense. But again, he's not the main target guy. Like AJ said, he was in the right time, right place. But he won't be replicating that anytime soon. So I think they're trying to sell high on him right now because everybody's like, wow, he scored 30 points, But I think this next one is something that you could look at. Kareem Hunt is a good guy for RB flex, but it just depends on how that offense does throughout the season. Now, if you're talking about Diggs as in Stephon Diggs, I think that's a decent trade. But again, Jonathan Taylor is the workhorse there. So I would want to hear what you have on your bench as of running backs. I know you told us the running backs that you have in your starting lineup, but let's hear those bench running backs. So comment down below and see, and we can help you out there.
Yeah, he said he's also being offered, like you were talking about, Kareem Hunt, Diggs for Jonathan Taylor. I still don't like that, depending on what kind of league are you in, full PPR or not.
Yeah.
I still think JT is worth way more than that. A lot of people are buying him low, but this is a point where people have to take advantage and get him low. If you have him, don't underestimate yourself. He will come back and you will help out your league. He says Justin Jefferson straight up for Jonathan Taylor. Justin Jefferson is elite. Jonathan Taylor is elite. I love Jefferson. Okay. I want to go back to your starting. You have Sutton and Godwin. Honestly, it might help you out just because I don't like Sutton and Godwin being your wide receiver 1 and 2. So yeah, I think that's a maybe. You should probably take it. If I were you, I would take it if those are my wide receivers.
He also says that he has 0 running backs on the bench.
Oh, no, you can't afford to. You can't afford to do it.
I would say no to that, my friend. Look at some of the running backs that we talked about so far earlier in this video. We will talk about more once we finish with these questions. But yeah, if you have 0 running backs on the bench, I don't think you can afford that right now.
I like that trade with Justin Jefferson, like I said earlier. But if you got no backups, it ain't it. Like I said, go get Kenneth Walker. He's going to be a running back 1. If you're top in the priority list, that'll be awesome. Get Raheem Moster. And just for week 6 only, Benjamin. But A has another question here. He got another offer from A.J. Dillon is included. Having Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon is just a no-no for me. I don't like double dipping with 2 running backs. That just doesn't sound appealing for me. I'm sorry. I'm going to say no to that one. Hopkins, Camara for A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones. Yeah. I wouldn't do it, man. This guy's trying to swindle you.
Yeah, he's trying to take Hopkins straight out of your injured reserve little area. I say hold on to Hopkins. I say hold on to Camara. Those guys have more upside than A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. As we've seen so far, and as of Reed has talked about on every Wednesday night, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are not being utilized enough on that team right now. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. They're kind of trying to get Aaron Rodgers back to that height that he was when he won those MVPs back to back to back. So I just think Hopkins and Camara are more valuable for fantasy purposes.
100%. Now let's go back to you saying you got 0 running backs on your bench. Guys to look out for. I doubt he's available, but Ramondre Stevenson, if he's out there, get him. Travis Etienne, if he's out there, go get him. Another people that I have on buy low that you got to go out and seek, I would say Reese Hall, but after last week, no one's going to be selling him. Try to go get yourself J.K. Dobbins. I know he didn't have the greatest week last week, but his production will go up. He's the only back that they could trust over there. Another running back that you could also get off the waiver wire who is a low risk, high reward, which if you got zero running backs, this might be a high risk.
Yeah.
But Jaylen Warren, he might be taking that lead spot over there for Pittsburgh. Eno Benjamin's going to have one hell of a week 6 without Connor, without Williams, without the third string Ward. So that's another guy to keep an eye on. But yeah, that's tough. You can't afford unless you trade Jonathan Taylor for wide receiver and
a running back.
Yeah, use that to your advantage. Get a running back from whoever's trying to get him a mid-tier running back and get a mid-tier wide receiver. For me, I mean, that's what I'll be trying to do. Go out there, go to your league, click on everyone's roster. It's time consuming, right? But you got to put in the work.
Yep.
You click on everyone's roster, see what you like, and you be the leader. You offer the trades because who wouldn't want JT on their team? If they know what they're doing, who wouldn't want JT? So it could be a win-win scenario and not so much a win-loss. But yeah.
Well,
Good questions.
Let's get back to running back so we can help him out a little bit. But back on Brian Robinson, I think he's a guy who might get more carries in the future. He outperformed what's his name? Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson only had 3 carries in that entire game. And I don't know what the script was for the Washington Commanders. I know they were trying to come back and win that game late. But to have Robinson.
Hello. Thanks for being here, man.
But to have Brian Robinson outperform Antonio Gibson 9 carries to 3, I know they weren't running the ball a lot, but I don't know if they were just being nice to Brian Robinson because it was his first NFL debut game, but I think they have a lot of high hopes for him in the future. So I think Brian Robinson could be a guy who is a boom type of guy. He won't be amazing like Reese Hall or anything like that with the Jets, but he will be a guy who could possibly get you 8 to 12 points a week, just depending on how much they use him. So keep an eye on him. I would not put him on your waivers just yet because it might be just a little thing here and there, but watch out for him the next week to 2 weeks and see if he does get more production than Antonio Gibson consistently.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, I cannot stress this enough. Kenneth Walker should be the number 1 priority on anyone's waiver wire list, okay? So if you are high on the waiver wire or for some reason your league is not aware that this guy is going to be a game changer for whatever team he gets put on, go get him right now. Get him right now. Even try to attempt a trade, okay? But that's it. Are we ready to move on to wide receivers, or you still got some running backs?
Let's do it, man. I just want to say if Alexander Madison is also in your league, to Mr. Jeb Armstrong, get him. He's available in I think 52% of leagues. So if he's in one of your leagues, he's consistently getting 8 to 10 points per week right now. So that's another guy who could help you with depth, especially when Dalvin Cook, if he goes down, that guy, he gets 20 to 30 points a game.
I'm waiting for some Chicago Bear running back questions with Montgomery and Herbert.
Oh, no.
I'm ready to get into that real quick, but let's get some wide receivers. I said this last week and I said this 2 weeks ago, and now time is running out, you guys. It's running out. Go get George Pickens right now, okay? He is a stud. He is, very athletic, and now they're starting to utilize him, especially with new QB play. He's gaining the targets. He's tied with the most targets of the team. He's fighting that with Johnson, but George Pickens is clearly the more. How do you say this? I don't want to say good-looking player. That's not what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying to say, right?
He's just the best one out there right now. We'll just say that.
Okay, we'll just say that. But yeah, go out there, go get George Pickens. He's getting wide receiver 1 reps, wide receiver 1 targets, and he will be racking up those points, especially in a PPR league. You could get him really low right now. He's only owned in 47.4% of leagues. Go get him. Go get him. Time is running out. After this week, he's going to be owned in over 50% of leagues, and you're going to be like, oh, shit, listen to NSP. But that's all right. Gabe and Mia trying to get some dubs. Heck yeah, man. I think you got some dubs last week. Congratulations. Best of luck to you, Gabe and Mia. Says, yes, man. Should I trade CD and Godwin for Cook? My wide receiver core is Cup, Lamb, Godwin, Judy, Terry, and Hopkins. My RB core is JT, Hall, Robinson. Should I do? Why? Everyone has
Dude, they
JT and
have that
Hall.
duo, man.
They
I don't
have
know
that.
what happened.
What is going on? Hey, congratulations. You have a really good running back core. As far as your wide receivers, I can see you want to upgrade your running backs with Cook, which I do like Cook a lot, but I do think you're giving up just a little bit too much with
Yeah.
CD and Godwin. I think Godwin's on the up and up. He is on my buy low list because he is going to be for sure giving you points between 10 to 15 points every single week, almost guaranteed. CD Lamb is on that roller coaster, but he's still the wide receiver one, and he will have an opportunity to be a high end flex and a low end wide receiver two for your team. I like Cook a lot, but if you got people like Jonathan Taylor, Reese Hall, don't freak out with Jonathan Taylor, okay? He's going to be gone. Once he comes back, he's going to be putting up some numbers for you. Reese Hall is just awesome. Robinson is good, right? But I don't like the way that they play him and Etienne, the way they utilize those guys. It is horrible. They only use Robinson whenever they are winning. Fortunately enough, it is the Jacksonville Jaguars, so they would have a rough road ahead of them. So I could see them using Etienne a little bit more than Robinson. But as far as a trade, I don't like your wide receivers, to be honest with you. I like Cup. Lamb is too inconsistent for me. Godwin's I like, but your bench. Judy and Terry, I'm not fond of. I'm not very fond of. Hopkins, he will come back, getting that wide receiver one reps and getting the, I guess this team's not bad. This team's
man.
not bad at all.
Just referring to that trade, I would say I have CD in 2 leagues, and I was disappointed in the beginning of the season, but lately he's been playing up to like his standard, what he should be getting as a wide receiver one. So I think this past week he got about 18 points, if I'm not mistaken. Could be just because that league has a little bit of the rules changed, but I think you should add Jared Judy instead of CD in there, and maybe Terry McLaurin, and I don't know if I would add anybody else to try to get Cook, but I'm not too sure if they'd fall for that. But
yeah, I don't know they'll go for that one, man. I really don't know.
I just think Godwin has better upside than those two guys. And
honestly, you could make the trade, but substitute one of those guys. Substitute either CD or substitute Godwin. I would throw in either Judy with Godwin or CD and Terry. There you go. I like that. CD and Terry for Cook, or Judy and Godwin for Cook. If this guy's smart, he knows that you're smart and you know the worth of your players. Or if you want to go straight up, just say, hey, I got Hopkins, even though I probably wouldn't recommend this. I got Hopkins. Give me Cook, and I'll throw in Terry there for you. And you got an automatic trade. And I kind of like that because I love Cook. I love Cook out there.
Yeah, man,
I see the wheels moving for you.
You would only need 2 wide receivers, so Cup and Lamb or Cup and Godwin would be your guys that slide in, and then you go 3-headed monster with those running backs and the flex.
Yeah, it'll look good.
JT, Hall, and then Cook. Yeah, you'd be looking very pretty.
Yeah. Man, appreciate you being here live on the stream. We go live fantasy football talk every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. If you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 300. We just hit over 200 subscribers, so that is huge for us. We are a small community trying to grow. But I finished off with George Pickens, Vince. I think I made my point clear. If you don't have him, go get him.
Exactly, my friend, exactly. I want to see who I want to talk about first here. I kind of want to talk about Devin Duvernay.
Duvernay.
We talked about him last week. We said he's going to get the bulk of the carries, and the bulk of the receptions, and that's what he kind of did. He didn't have an amazing game, but he had 14 points, and that's the third time that he's been above 9 points in the past 3 games. So, in my opinion, I think he's the guy who's going to continue to be getting good receptions, but he's going to be a low-end flex for me. If you are having trouble, like some of the guys who have been commented here with wide receiver woes here, I think Devin Duvernay is another guy who's on a high-powered offense that he's always going to be getting the ball. and usually he'll go for receptions of 40 yards, 30 yards. But this past game, he only had to go for receptions for about 10 to 15 yards at max, just because he was pretty much the wide receiver one there besides Mark Andrews. But once everybody like Hollywood, or what's his name? Is it Hollywood Brown? Yeah, Hollywood Brown. Once he comes back healthy, I think
Oh
Devin
no, Rashad Bateman.
Rashad Bateman. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, once he comes back healthy, I think Devin Duvernay will slide back to his old position where he gets 2 or 3 receptions, but he's been averaging 60 to 70 yards per game. So I think Devin Duvernay is pretty good. Do you like Hall in PPR leagues, or is he overhyped? Go ahead, AJ.
Okay, I've been saying this since drafts, okay? Since the fantasy football draft. I love Hall. I don't think he's overhyped. He's consistently getting 14 points at the very least. Now, PPR leagues, Reese Hall is known to get their targets, known to get the receptions for the Jets. Now, this past week, it was a freak week, okay? It was kind of weird. He only got 2 receptions, but, I mean, one was for like 50 yards. So that's probably why he got the majority of the points. I don't think he's overhyped. I do think he's worth the money. I like Hall a lot. So I think you should, stay comfortable. If that's what you're worried about getting Dalvin Cook because you don't trust Hall, I would have hit that panic button. I would have hit it. I'll be more into panic if you had JT and Dalvin Cook, just because of how injury prone Dalvin Cook is. And like Vincent said, Madison's been getting some more points week by week. So, but he's still a great running back to add. Just you got to keep Hall and JT and run that 3-headed monster. But no, I don't think he's overhyped.
Not bad, not bad. You got anybody else you want to talk about a wide receiver? I got one more guy I really want to talk about, but then the other guys are just additions on there.
Sure. I'm not very high on this guy, but you know what? He's available. He's out there. His name is Alec Pierce. We talked about him in week 1 for fantasy football events. I think you talked about him.
Yeah.
This is a very poor offense with the Indianapolis Colts. They had a horrible week last week. Michael Pittman didn't do so great. Alex Pierce got the targets.
He did.
And he's consistently getting the targets. And that's what I like about him. So he's consistently getting opportunities to get points. Now, like I said, this is a horrible offense, and he will always be the wide receiver 2. So Pittman is always going to be the wide receiver 1. Don't fool you. It doesn't matter if we're towards the end of the season. Alec Pierce is not going to step up as a wide receiver 1. He is a wide receiver 2. If you are in desperate need for a wide receiver to have on your low tier flex, I think this is the guy, just because he is getting the targets, and that means he's getting the opportunity to score some points. Like I said, I'm not very high on him, but if you're desperate, this is the guy to get. He's owned in less than 2% of leagues. So go out there, go have fun. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, another low tier flex. This guy plays for the Rams, and the Rams aren't doing so well either. They're 2-3, but Ben Scarronic. I had talked about him 2 weeks ago. I was like, who the heck is this guy? I've never heard of him. It's like, did they bring him up from the practice squad? And basically, he's just been riding the bench lately. But with Van Jefferson going on IR, with Allen Robinson not being what they expected him to be, something like Odell, but he's not anything like that. Ben Scarnick is really good. And just like right now, Alec Pierce, we're talking about, he's getting the receptions. And that's because he's also having to split them with Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp gets a lot of receptions. So we know LA Rams are always going to be a pass-happy team right now because they're always trailing now. They always have to come back. And I think Ben Scarronic is going to be a guy who's going to be consistently around that 10-point range. So he's not a big boom guy, but he is someone who's going to be consistent. Lately, this past game, he had 8 targets for 6 receptions. He had 41 yards, which is not a lot because he's one of those guys who's a little dunk down. They pretty much like throw the ball to him like he's a running back. He's usually in the backfield and they toss it to him and he gets some yards. But he is getting a lot of those receptions. The past 3 games, he's already had 2 games with 10 points. So I think he's a guy who could possibly do it this week again, especially since they're going against the Panthers. I mean, we saw it when the 49ers are playing them. It's pretty easy to score against that team right now. So I think they are going to take advantage. I think Scarronic's going to be one of those guys that has a pretty good game, but also look for Higbee to have a good game as well.
Yeah, you could also throw in there that, they don't like to run the ball. So they are a very pass heavy team. So that's good. I'm going to move on to tight ends. Vince, I want to steal one of yours. Someone that you mentioned last week, Hayden Hurst. Now, when you mentioned him last week, I was like, I don't know about this guy. I really don't like him, and he's a 9-point machine because he scores 9 points every single week at the very least. But last week when we had, was it Higgins? When
Yeah.
Higgins was dealing with an injury, they had to rely on a crutch, okay, because they can't just rely on Jamar Chase, and that was Hayden Hurst. So on a very pass heavy offense, Hayden Hurst was that guy. Last week he saw 7 targets. So he had 7 targets and 1 touchdown. He ended up scoring 14 points. I think he's a great tight end. In the long run, I do feel like he is going to be more consistent. I mean, he's already consistent as it is. He's owned in less than 10% of leagues. Go out there, get him. He's a good fill-in. And especially if you have someone like Darren Waller and no one else is available in your tight end position, go get Hayden Hurst. I got Darren Waller in one of my leagues. I'm making a change. It's time.
Yeah, man, it's a smart thing to do right there. Hayden Hurst has gotten back-to-back touchdowns in these past 2 games. So he's a guy they're looking at right now. It wasn't only because Higgins was out, but once Higgins does come back, it's going to be biting into his production. But he's a guy who's been pretty consistent, and that's because he just played against his team right now when he was playing against the Baltimore Ravens. So he kind of had a game where he was trying to prove himself, He is the guy they drafted in the first round, and he is a first-round guy. So I like Hayden Hurst going forward. He's going to be a good crutch for Joe Burrow in these next few games. But another guy I really want to talk about, and it's not Will Dissly, but I'll talk about him later, is Evan Ingram. Now, here's the thing. The Jacksonville Jaguars were doing horrible against the Houston Texans, but Evan Ingram was their bright spot. And I'm not too sure if this is going to continue because the past two games before this last one, he only had 2 points. But in this past game, he had 12.9. But here's the kicker. He had 10 receptions thrown to him. He only caught 6, but he had them for 69 yards. So he's a guy who's getting the ball and has a lot of yak yards, and he's running good routes. So they're trying to pass to him more. I could see him being a low-tier tight end. So if you are having troubles where there's no tight ends available or you don't trust in any tight ends, you might as well try to pick up Evan Ingram. He's only on 17.5% of rosters right now. So he is a guy who could have a big boom in the next few weeks, but I don't see him being a long-term guy. That long-term guy is most likely going to be Will Dissly, in my opinion. I did have to pay Reed $5 because this past week he played against New Orleans.
Oh my gosh.
And they're good against tight ends, but he only had 4 points. But I see him going back to his original where he gets above 10 points. He did not have the opportunity to get into the end zone because, again, Geno Smith was just throwing long bombs to DK and Tyler Lockett. So I think against the Cardinals, who are not very good against tight ends, Will Dissly will have a regular game where he gets a couple of receptions, and one of those is going to be in the end zone. So look for Will Dissly. He's going to be a consistent guy, and he's only owned in 13.4% of rosters. He has gone up since last week, so keep that in mind. He is going up every week because people are noticing he's the number 10 tight end right now. He's worth something.
He's worth something. A guy who's worth something right now is Taysom Hill as far as the tight end position. Did he have a freak game? Yes. Is he the highest scoring tight end? Yeah. Is he going to be consistent? No. Can you predict when he's going to do this again? No. So unless you're absolutely desperate or you just want to have fun and take a chance, go ahead and get Taysom Hill. My advice is don't fall for it. It's not going to happen every single week. You don't know when it's going to happen. And it's probably going to happen again, but you can't trust that. It's horrible. We got a Brar. What's up, man? Appreciate you being here, dude. Says, should I trade Amon for sell high or not? I don't think you should. the Detroit Lions dropped a big old goose egg last week, and you can't predict that. You have the Detroit Lions, who are the highest scoring offense in the league, just drop 0 points. Right now, Amon was coming off of an injury, so he wasn't playing 100%. Now, if you want to sell high on him, I'm not going to tell you not to, but make sure it's for the right price and don't get swindled out there. Okay, get a strong receiver, get an elite running back. Do not get swindled. I have Amon in one of my leagues. I'm not selling him just because he is still the wide receiver one, and his targets are not being fought after. So I still like him. In the long run, he's going to be doing great. A guy who is similar to Amon right now, which I'm kind of worried about, is Christian Kirk. That's the guy who I probably sell high on. Hey, A's back over here. He says, would you trade David Montgomery for Goddard and Michael Thomas in a full PPR? I said it before. Michael Thomas, he gets injured every single year. He's dealing with the injury right now. He is barely coming back. Goddard, he looks great, right, with the Eagles because, they're undefeated. He's getting the touches. But David Montgomery, this is what I like about him. People are worried. Hey, Montgomery's coming back after an injury. He's going to be fighting for those reps in Herbert. That wasn't the case. He took the majority of the reps and majority of the touches and even getting involved in the pass catching downs. Now, Chicago has a very poor offense, right? But they have one crutch, and that's David Montgomery. He's going to be getting the touches no matter what. I like Montgomery more than Goddard and Michael Thomas. TBH, my personal opinion. We remember. We just went over your backs. You have an awesome back room over there. Reese Hall, Camara, James Robinson, and Kareem Hunt. I think it's great. I think Montgomery's just a cherry on top. Oh, that changes.
I was waiting for you to see that right now.
Oh, is that why you're making that face?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah, your tight end is Kittle. Kittle's going to have, 2 to 3 games where he looks like an elite fantasy tight end because he is elite tight end. Just fantasy-wise, he doesn't put up the points. Honestly, I still don't think you should make that trade. I like Montgomery. Go out there, your tight ends. Go find Hayden Hurst. Go, be a Reed to get Robert Tonyan. Be a Vincent to get Will Disley. Check to see if Njoku is available. If he is available, go get that guy. Okay, he's only owned in 63% of leagues, so you have a fair chance of going to get him. Try to sell Kittle if you can. Try to sell him. But I like Montgomery. It's not a bad trade, but I don't trust Michael Thomas remaining healthy. I think Chris Olave is taking that lead spot, even coming out of a concussion. I think he looks good. Reed McCall says, if you have Aaron Rodgers as your QB, should you try to trade him at this point? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trade Aaron Rodgers. Oh, you could do way better than that, especially if you could trade Aaron Rodgers for a skill position like a wide receiver or running back or even a tight end. I would say that. Trade Aaron Rodgers for a high to mid-tier tight end. I think this could be a great win. You could get Jimmy G and get the same production fantasy-wise. Just how it is.
Yep.
Brar says...
Or his favorite guy, Geno Smith.
Or you get Geno Smith, you're going to get even better production there. Brar says, who to start at flex? Just so you know, my running backs are Mixon, McCaffrey, and wide receivers are Higgins and Amon. Do I start Evans, Camara, Keenan Allen? Hey, Brar, I think we got mad at you last week. I think we got very, very mad at you last week. Why are you still thinking about having Evans as a flex? That guy is a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Yeah. I love that this is your problem here. Your flex, Mike Evans, Camara, Keenan Allen. I wouldn't start Keenan Allen just because he's coming fresh off of an injury and you haven't seen him play. And, you never know. He might be limited snaps. Camara had a great week last week, but you do have Michael Thomas coming back. You do have Chris Olave coming back, so he is going to be sharing those touches. And you just saw Taysom Hill go freaking nuts, so you might experiment even more. Have Mike Evans in your flex. Love the question. Appreciate you asking us, but that's a great problem to have. Mike Evans, 100%. He says, since I missed Tanya's quarter, I would like to say I am not as high on him anymore. Nestor, clip that. Someone clip this, okay? We need this for our next episode. Meki Degat says, love the channel, but the advice y'all gave me last week was depressing. Lost by 60. Quick Q, do I trade Naji McLaurin for Taylor? Yes, 100% yes. And what advice did we give? I do apologize, man. Love you being here. Love you listening to us once again. Oh man, losing by 60, that's big. Um, it might have been the J.K. Dobbins talk that we had, but yeah, please let us know what it was. Let us correct ourselves because I was very disappointed last week, and I promise that I'm going more and more into depth with these researches. But yes, I would 100% take that trade, Najee Harris for McLaurin, Najee Harris and McLaurin for Jonathan Taylor. He is going to be that number one touch guy on that whole offense. Even though it's a piss poor offense, I think it's the guy. It's the dude. Fantasy is tough, man. It is tough. It is tough. I mean, it requires you to do a lot of research. It requires you to watch shows like this. It requires you to ask for trades, to take chances. But yeah, man, you put Mike Evans as your flex. I like that.
Please.
Start 2.5 PPR. Walker, ETN, Hunt, Aaron Jones. I love Kenneth Walker. You got to start that guy. Even though I don't love him as much as far as pass catching, he is still going to be that bell cow of that running back room for Seattle. ETN, Hunt, Aaron Jones. You want to finish the second part?
Yeah, man. In my opinion, I think Aaron Jones is the safer bet. He's going to be splitting with A.J. Dillon here and there, but Aaron Jones is still going to be Aaron Jones. I think this past week he got 78 yards, so that's already 7.8 points. He does get some catch passing ability, so he does get receptions. Hunt is good, but again, it's just the game script on how the Browns are going to play. And ETN, we know Robinson and him are always splitting, so it just depends on what happens with the game script for them as well. So I think that's too much of a toss-up. I think Aaron Jones is the best guy to start right now.
Yeah, it is a big toss-up, though. It says, do I trade away Aaron Jones and Hunt for Jacobs? I have Walker, Chubb, ETN. I would 100% take that. Jacobs is on the rise, and you clearly see that on that struggling Raiders defense, when they're desperate, when they're not desperate, they got to get something going. Jacobs is that guy. He's not only getting the touches, but he's getting the targets as well. He says that we told him to put that we suggested Naji and Robinson over Monty and Pollard. It's all good. I'm gonna bounce back. Hey man, I do apologize, but Naji, that was very disappointing. And you know what? That was my B. I should have seen this coming. We did talk a little bit about Jalen Warren today, just because he is starting to get more snaps and more opportunities over Naji Harris. I do have Naji Harris now as a sell guy. You got to sell him. Sell high if you can. If not, sell him. Like I said, we do apologize. And you know what? We do appreciate you being here, my man. And we will do better. And we're rooting for you. You will bounce back. Ask us some more questions. Like I said, we hit on a lot of guys last week. We hit on Josh Jacobs. We hit on George Pickens. So hopefully we could help you out later on in the season. Appreciate you still being here, my guy. Hey, would trading DeMont for Higbee in my scenario be a good trade or bad? This is the guy that has George Kittle. Honestly, I would take a little bit of advantage here, okay? Because Montgomery's going to be putting up some points, but Higbee is one of the two targets that Matthew Stafford likes to hit. So I do like that trade, but get greedy here. This is okay to get greedy because in a common eye, you're trading a running back for a tight end. Doesn't really match up. Ask for more. Ask for more.
Mm-hmm. Get like a flex wide receiver or a flex running back within that package, because Montgomery, if you just trade him for Higbee, that the player you're trading with is getting a steal right there, because Montgomery has the chance to get 30 points while Higbee is only averaging 12 points a game.
Nice. This guy says he wants to experiment. He wants to trade Josh Jacobs for who? If so, me personally, I don't think I would trade Josh Jacobs. Yeah, the Raiders don't look great, but you have a lot of players on a lot of teams that don't look that great that are still putting up a lot of fantasy points. I think Josh Jacobs will remain. But if you do want to trade him, get a good wide receiver. A lot of people are giving up on Jalen Waddle. That's a guy to buy low on, so you could buy a Jalen Waddle and a little bit extra, just in case you do want to sell like that. Honestly, if you could try to swindle someone to sell Josh Jacobs for someone like a Reese Hall, I would do so as well. But like I said, I like Josh Jacobs. If you have him on your team, that's a good situation to have.
Yeah, man.
Q Cole says, should I drop Madison for Pollard? See, this is kind of tough. Like I said, Pollard, I do like that guy. He is getting a lot of touches over there for Dallas, but dropping Madison, I wouldn't do it personally. I think Pollard has more upside for fantasy wise, but I like to hold on to Madison only for handcuff purposes. I still believe that there's a chance that Dalvin Cook does get injured throughout the season. So Madison is more of an eye candy for me just to hold on to. We saw it last year where it's getting to playoff times. People are pushing to make the playoffs, and Dalvin Cook goes down, and everyone's out there in the waiver wire trying to get Madison. I don't think any of those guys should be starting in a fantasy lineup, but I don't know what your roster looks like. So if you are desperate, then maybe. But if you're not, if you got a starting lineup, I'll keep Madison.
Yeah, I would agree. There's just more opportunity for him. He's consistent right now, but if Dalvin Cook does go down, Madison is going to be the guy. With Pollard, I'm looking at his stuff right now. He's a little bit wishy-washy for me. He did have some good weeks in 2 and 3, and then this past week as well. But if you look at the trends, he does good against defenses that are very, very good. So he might have decent points against Philadelphia, but the 2 weeks after that, it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott that's in. The passing is going to be more, or it's going to be easier, so they won't run it with Pollard as much. But the trend that I see here is when he faces defenses that are really good against running backs, that's when he pops off. So again, if you want, you can, but ultimately it's your choice. I think Madison is the better bet because he's more consistent.
He says the only ideal option to ask for to be included would be Zeke, Brian Robinson, and Gabe Davis, because other than that, he has Swift and Monroe, which I doubt he would include. I don't think he'll include that in the trade either. But if you could get someone either, it sounds dirty coming out of my mouth, Ezekiel Elliott or Gabe Davis, I'll take it. I wouldn't take Brian Robinson only because over there in Washington, they are running a 3-headed back team, and you're never going to see consistent production. Zeke, you could probably see more consistency going on through the league, especially with them winning. They want to win. They're going to try everything in their power to do so. Because Zeke having a low-tier flex position, safety with Gabe Davis. So, yeah, I'll include one of those guys, not Brian Robinson.
But I think if he wants to give David Montgomery, try to trade for Swift straight up. See if that works. I think when Swift comes back, he's going to be a little bit better than David Montgomery. But I know you're trying to get a tight end as well, but sometimes just getting one off the waiver wire is the best thing, especially if you can get a better running back than you have right now.
Says, would you trade Najee for Monty? I'm very desperate at running back. I have Chubb, Dobbins, and Najee. One, yes, I will take that trade because Naji Harris has been disappointing all year long. It is disappointing for us as well. He's supposed to be that bell cow, supposed to be that pass catchy back, and he's just I can't say it enough, disappointing. And Jalen Warren is taking a lot more snaps for Pittsburgh, so I would trade that because Montgomery is just going to be that bell cow, that horrible offense. And yeah, I would take that. Yeah, take that trade. Take that trade. A says, or should I do Hopkins for Demont for Amon-Ra and Higbee? Hopkins and Demont for Amon-Ra and Higbee. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get Amon-Ra, I think that's good. He has in the next comment that he has his opponent has Mark Andrews, or the guy he's trading with has Mark Andrews. So he's probably more than willing to give up Higbee. He only has Higbee for that bye week little stint there, or if Andrews goes down. But in my opinion, I think if you're trading D-Hop and Demont, I would want to get another player in there, but I don't know who he would add. I just think Hopkins is very desirable. Demont is very desirable as well. And you're only really getting Amon-Ra, and then Higbee is a consistent guy. So I would try to get like a low-end flex here or there, trying to get something more. But again, if you're very complacent with just having Amon-Ra and Higbee from that trade, you can go ahead and do that. And I think they would more than likely accept it.
Yeah, that is a risky trade, but I can see where you could be desperate for a tight end. And trust me, tight end makes a world of difference. So good luck there. Hopefully you can find a trade suitor for you. And hopefully you do great for the rest of the season. Now, I do want to get into towards the end of our show where we talk about defenses. Now, if you're like me, I switch up my defense every week to get the best possible results. Now, this week, we got a lot. We got a lot of opportunities here. These are my teams that I have to choose. You go get the Rams, go get the Niners, Jags, Bucks, and Chargers. Those guys will rack you up some points and help you out, take advantage in your league. And as long as the defense scores more than 7 points, you're pretty solid. What was it? I was going against the Broncos defense last week, which we did advertise, and they scored 14 points. That was tough. I did come out with a win thanks to Travis Kelce. So rock on, Joseph Nagodia, right? K. Cole says, I'm very bad at flex this week. Pick one, Lazard, Alec Pierce, Bateman. Oh, man. That is bad. That is bad. I do want to look at some matchups. I do know, let's see, the Colts are going up against the Jags.
I think here I would go with Lazard as I'm looking at the Packers. They're going to face up against the Jets. The Jets have a decent defense, but I think Lazard is getting too much notice inside the red zone, so I think he will have another touchdown. He's pretty consistent with that. Let me go ahead and look at Alec Pierce and Bateman here.
Now, Bateman is coming off of the injury.
Yep.
Okay. Normally, I will say Bateman 100%. I think here I'm not very high on Packers wide receivers anymore. As we saw last week, it's just going to be a wide receiver community with Lazard, Dobbs, and Cobb. So we don't know what we're going to get. I do feel like Lazard will get the targets as he's been getting the targets, but the safest bet there is Lazard 100%.
Yeah, man. I see that the Colts are going against the Jags. The Jags have a decent defense. And Reed said it best. Lazard is playing very well right now. He's getting the ball. He's getting the touches. And like I said, in the red zone, he's one of the biggest threats there because, like Reed said, he's not all about Tanyan's corner anymore. So it's going to be Lazard in the end zone there, or it's going to be one of the running backs. But other than that, I mean, I really don't think that those other two options in Alec Pierce or in Bateman will be the best plays because, again, like AJ said, Bateman's coming off injury. I don't think he'll have a big game right after that injury if he does come back for sure.
Yeah, no, good question, though. If T. Higgins doesn't play, I'm going to have to play two of those guys. Ooh,
Shoot.
I'll say Bateman. Alec Pierce, he's getting the targets, but he doesn't really produce as much, and that is a horrible offense going against the Jaguars defense that is, pretty decent this season. Now you got to look at matchups, right? So you have the Green Bay Packers going against the Jets. The Jets are doing pretty good, but I trust Aaron Rodgers more than the Colts. And then you got to look at the Ravens. The Ravens are going against the Giants, who have been allowing a lot of points. So I could definitely see Rashad Bateman getting more involved into that offense, especially the Giants, not trying to risk a loss, double teaming the tight end. And I want to say it ain't so, but I don't like the passing volume for the Ravens. But if you are forced to play that hand, I would say Lazard and Bateman.
I'm gonna counter. I'm gonna say Alec Pierce. I do believe in the Giants' corners there. I don't know if Bateman's going to be 100% if he does play, so keep that in mind. But again, I think Alec Pierce, just because if you play in a PPR league, I think he will get receptions, but he won't get a lot of yards. So that's your dilemma there. It's just depending on if Bateman is going to come back for sure and be 100%, or if Alec Pierce is going to get some yardage after all.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Good luck, man. Hopefully you don't have to choose two of those guys, but let us know, okay? Find us here. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Email us at nspfootballtalk@gmail.com. And we're also on TikTok. Okay, go find us on TikTok, NSP Football Talk. We got some fun content out there. We are also going to be doing a giveaway. So if you guys are here live in the chat, we are doing this giveaway of this autographed I always forget this guy's name. Darius Leonard, linebacker for the Colts. I mean, he's a stud, man. He's a stud for the Colts. We are giving that away. We are releasing the details on how to enter on social media, hopefully tomorrow. But if you guys are interested, just stay updated. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, even on TikTok. We're going to be announcing that just to stay updated. I'm 5-0, but barely have any depth, man. That's tough. And I know how that feels. Okay, that's why you got to look at the waiver wires. I mean, there's a lot of great content creators out there. They put up a lot of advice. A lot of it's probably going to be the same out wherever you look at. But as far as running backs, wide receivers, if you have questions, let us know. One guy I would highly recommend picking up after you look at your receivers, go pick up George Pickens. Pick him up. He's only owned in 47.4% of leagues. He's a guy with high upside, very low risk. He's getting the wide receiver one targets now with Pickett as a new QB for Pittsburgh. There you go. But yeah, hopefully things turn out well. We want everyone to win. It's tough to see people struggle out there. I know fantasy is not easy. Trust me, it ain't. And you never know what type of games these guys are going to have. Like last week, we did talk about Naji Harris, and statistically and the way things roll, he was supposed to have a good game. Sometimes it doesn't happen. It's tough, but we do our best. We do our best. We do our research. He says, I wasted a claim on Herbert and did it work out. Pickens his own. Unfortunately, that is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Guys to look out for just in case they are available, which you have. I was gonna say Alan Lazard, but yeah, that's pretty tough, my guy. I'll try to make trades. There you go. You have a winning record. Obviously, you have a winning team, so people want to have some of that. Get some trades going on. Get some trades.
Yeah, man. My only thing is like on waiver wire, I would say if he should be on your waiver wire. He's a low end guy, but he might have a big upside this week, especially since you're gonna only need him for 1 week. Ben Scarronic, he plays for the LA Rams. He has been getting consistent yardage and receptions. I talked about him a little bit earlier in this video. I think he could be a guy that could help you out. Or in my opinion, if Donovan Peoples-Jones plays up to par like he did this past week, he would get you somewhere around 10 points. And I mean, since you're 5-0 right now, just a little bit of points will go a long way. So look for two of those guys because what it's looking like is your league is very competitive. So a lot of guys are not on there right now.
Yeah. Right now, if you have your claim on Herbert, if that is your current claim, go out there, go change it, go get Kenneth Walker if he's available. He's only taken up 37% of leagues. He will be a league winner and definitely adding depth to your roster. He's definitely a running back 1, running back 2 for fantasy football. Go get him. Will definitely help out your team. I cannot stress this enough. Kenneth Walker, another guy. Raheem Mostert is another running back that you could go and get out there. I don't know what you look like running back wise, but those are two guys that could definitely help out your team. What's going on, Nestor? Appreciate you being here live. Again, thank you everyone who is here live. If you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow. We are a small channel, as you guys can see. We do our very best, and we have a video almost every single day, actually. But
yep,
we don't mind it. Rar says, is Josh Allen the number 1 QB, and should I trade him for a bit of a worse of a QB and get something else alongside it? Just depends. What can you get? What can you get? I know you're probably not going to get a Hurst or Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. You won't get those guys. If you get, I doubt you'll be able to, but like a Kyler Murray, maybe. Other than that, I think the next quarterback up is Joe Burrow, and I don't think it's worth it at that point. You don't want to lose Josh Allen because not only is he the lead passer of that team, but he's also the lead back of that team. He does get a lot of points rushing. But you have a great team. What are you talking about? You have a great team, bro. Oh, I'm going to get mad at you again. Don't make me get mad at you.
You just got to play the right guys, man. That's all it is.
It says, yes, Keenan Allen, Cup, Chubb. So they're the main reason I win most weeks. They're absolutely nothing on the waivers. 12-man league, and best running back is DJ Dallas. Best wide receiver is Elijah Moore. Yeah, that is tough, man. Here, take some chances. Honestly, take some chances. I can't remember if you said you had Naji, but trade Naji if you can. But running back wise, Eno Benjamin, he should have a great week 6, but week 6 only because Connor Williams and Ward are going to be out. So Eno Benjamin should be good. Jalen Warren looks like he's going to be taking that lead role for Pittsburgh, and I am saying that with a question mark because it is a big maybe. That is a low risk, high reward type of player. Those are just some guys that you could go out there and try to get. Those guys are owned in less than 1% of leagues. Less than 1% of leagues. Low risk, high reward. Try it.
Yeah,
try it.
The only thing I'll say is don't sleep on DJ Dallas. He's now the running back 2 there, and he's going to be the pass catching back, so he could get some possible points. But again, he's not someone that you should pick up right now. But we got Brar says I traded Hurts. He was on my team. Funny. Oh, geez. Well,
Jeez,
he
man.
hasn't been doing that good lately. I think Josh Allen has been outperforming against him. So it wasn't a bad trade yet, but we'll see as it goes along in the season. But shoot,
I think
if you
Hurts has
want,
been doing good. I like Hurts.
yeah,
He's
he's
top
been
five
getting
fantasy.
around 20 points.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. But no, if you already traded Hurts, I think you should just keep Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't push your luck too far. Don't fly too close to the sun, is what they say. But yeah, no, it's good. It's a good deal for you guys. But I hope you guys are excited for Week 6. I know there's a lot of great matchups going on. I know I'm excited. Like I said, 3 out of 4 of my leagues, I'm still 5-0. I'm having some great luck. Fortunately enough, I mean, I didn't have to deal with Naji Harris. I did have to deal with J.K. Dobbins. As you guys saw on Saturday, I let Vince and Reed adjust my lineup, and they put J.K. Dobbins, which wasn't a bad adjustment, but you can't predict it. He got the attempts, but
Yeah.
the yardage just wasn't there. Oh man, you got a mod for him. Honestly, I feel like you could have gotten more, just a little bit more off of him. But you know what? You're looking pretty over there with your team, so not too bad, not too bad. If you have any more questions, go ahead and put it down here below before we end the stream. Extremely grateful for everyone who has been here. Like I said, if you are feeling generous, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow. I also have some. I guess I could show this as well. This is what I'm looking off of. If you guys notice that I am keep looking to my right hand side, it's because I am looking at this right here. These are notes that I make every single week. I do this every Monday night. Okay, so I do the research. I go in. I know you guys can't really see it. Let me see if I can move it over here. But I do this every single week just so you guys could have an edge in your fantasy league. And honestly, I love doing it. I love helping out. That's what it looks like. I could zoom in here. Just give me 1 second. At least I thought I could. But yeah, if you guys like this stuff, let us know. Find us on NSP Football Talk at gmail.com. I release this every single week. I got a whole bunch of people that I release it to, and it helps you guys pick out people from the waiver wire, help out who to sell low, sell high, start them, sit them, drop, injuries, defenses, all the shindig. Okay. So if you guys are interested, find us down here, DM us, or find us at nspfootballtalk at gmail.com. We'll be more than happy to share that with you guys. Cody Armour says, in a full PPR, how do you feel about giving Hollywood and Njoku for DK and Swift? This is our Seattle guy, so I'll let you answer that, Vince. You already know where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, I think AJ is going to say no because he doesn't believe in DK a lot too much. But DK right now is getting the same amount of points as Hollywood Brown, so that'll be an even trade for at this moment. We'll just see how the Seahawks do against the next few teams. Njoku, I like him. He's getting like about 10 to 12 points each game. But Swift is the one where he can get you a lot more points and add to your running back core or your flex position. So I'm not too sure who else you have on your team. But if you don't have to trade away Hollywood, I would not. But definitely if someone made this trade with you to give you DK and Swift, I would say yes, because I think DK will have the same production here and there. He might have some weeks where he gets 10 points, but that's anybody who plays in the NFL at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty fair trade. I like Hollywood. Are we going to see a slight, production fall whenever Hopkins comes back? You may, but I don't think so. I think he's still going to be putting up points. And Njoku is a solid tight end for you. So depending on who your backup tight end is, that's what's going to determine. But DK and Swift, I love Swift. DK has been putting up some good points, but like I said before about Geno, I think it's a matchup type deal.
Yep.
Josh Allen, bye week is week 7. Is there a QB I should go for to take his spot for that week? Oh, okay. Now we're talking way ahead of schedule here. So way ahead of schedule. We're talking 2 weeks in. But like Vince has said, I just threw a huge blank right there. I'm looking at week 7 right now, and the Seahawks are going up against the Chargers. They have a decent defense. I want to look at the Niners. Niners going against the Chiefs. Can't pick up Jimmy G. who would you go for here? Honestly, I would
Oh,
go for maybe a Miami quarterback. They're going against a Pittsburgh Steelers who doesn't have TJ Watt. They don't have that pass rush for that quarterback. So I might go Miami, whether it be, I think it's going to be Jacoby Brissette, not Jacoby Brissette, Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy.
I like him. The only reason why I'm mentioning him is because I know he will be available at that point. Because other than that, you could put Tom Brady in there. Tom Brady against the Panthers. That's another good one. Go ahead and get yourself a Tom Brady. That's solid, 14, 16 points.
I think I would go with Geno. I don't think the Chargers are that good. Geno's been playing phenomenally. I think the only dip that he would take in that one is that he won't be able to pass to his tight ends. So you might see some production fall in the touchdown area, but I think he's going to continue to get around 300 yards passing. His completion percentage is insane right now at 75%, number one in the NFL. QBR is at 120, number one in the NFL. I don't see him falling off that bad. So Geno's a safe pick, but if you can get someone better, I would.
Okay. Michael says, "Where's Reed?" They're over here playing tag over here in the comments. But he also has another question. He says, I've started a single-digit point QB in the past 2 weeks. Any recommendations on a streamer that will give me at the very least 15 points? I'm going to bring this up. These are my notes right here. In the QB position, I have Geno Smith and I have Dreamy, aka Jimmy Garoppolo. The only reason why I like Jimmy G is because they're going up against the Falcons here. In the past 2 weeks, he has not thrown an interception, and he's been averaging 19 points, which is not bad. And I think it'll be a lot better than any single-digit QB. But you got to look at who's out there, who's available. You got to get one of those, those not so sexy guys. What I would like to say, not very eye appealing. That's when you could get someone like Aaron Rodgers, like a Tom Brady. Yeah, not very fun. It says he has Goff and Tua. LOL. Yeah, Goff. That was a horrible week. They laid a big old goose egg. There was a high scoring offense in the league. Who would have guessed that? But Tua, he's out for the season. I think Teddy Bridgewater could do a decent job. I wouldn't rely on him, not for the whole season. But you got to look at those not so sexy guys, like I said before, Aaron Rodgers, a Geno Smith, Tom Brady, some of those guys.
I would also say even Jacoby Brissette. He's averaging 16 points right now. So if you are looking for a guy who's not going to give you single-digit points, I would say it's Jacoby Brissette. He's not playing phenomenally. The team's not playing phenomenally, but he's getting the points here and there. So he's probably a guy who could possibly help you out. But let's look at this one. He says he's looking to replace Javonte, unfortunately, so I'm getting a little desperate as my running back room is Eckler, Pierce, Wilson Jr., and Jamal Williams. So I'm trying to get someone who is solid on the roster. Okay. So, Eckler's good. He got 35 points this past week. Pierce, amazing. He had 30 points. Wilson Jr. had 28, 20. I believe. Yeah, 20-something. Jamal Williams, yeah, he had 6 points, I believe. In my opinion, I think he has a good running back room. Will Wilson Jr. actually perform like this for much, much longer? I'm not 100% sure. Pierce, I also don't know if he's going to keep performing like this. They had a good game against the Jaguars, but I don't see that going forward with everybody they play. So I do think that getting a running back is going to be key for you. It's just who are you going to trade away? Because I would say sell high on Wilson Jr. and sell high on Pierce, maybe even Jamal Williams. See if you can do like a trade where you trade both of those guys and see if you can get 3 running backs. I don't know, something like that.
So I do have some notes on Pierce. Last week we did talk about Rex Burkhead. This past week, Pierce got more receptions than Rex Burkhead, which I do like. So hopefully they move more with him going forward. Like you said, Vince, I would sell very high on Jeff Wilson Jr. Do it right now because it looks great. We saw a little bit of Tevin Coleman take over some of the snaps last week, but that's because the Niners were up by so many points and we had 2 injuries. So they didn't want to injure Jeff Wilson Jr. So that's why Coleman was in there. But sell high on him. Try to get what you can. Jamal Williams, his time is coming to an end whenever Swift is coming back, even though he does like to get utilized a lot in the red zone. get Kenneth Walker. Get Kenneth Walker. Go out there on the waiver wire list. Pick him up. He is going to be a league winner. I could promise you that. He says he has Elijah Mitchell on IR currently as well. I wouldn't rely too much. Look, I'm a Niners fan. Big time Niners fan. Always has been, right? Right now, Elijah Mitchell's injured. TDP is injured. And Jeff Wilson was left. Okay? Kyle Shanahan likes to run a three-headed monster. And when you take two of those guys out, Jeff Wilson's going to look like a stud. Now, Elijah Mitchell, he's going to get some points. He's going to be the lead back whenever he comes back. But don't rely on him to be getting 20 points every game like Jeff Wilson Jr. has been, just because he will be sharing those reps. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I feel like a jerk by saying that, right? But don't get too excited on Elijah Mitchell. He is going to be a low-tier running back, good for your flex, but he will not be the guy getting you 20 points every single game. Sell high on Jeff Wilson Jr. If you want, sell Elijah Mitchell before he comes back.
Yep.
Sell Williams as well. That's it. You got temporary guys out there. It's scary. And like I said before, go get Kenneth Walker, my guy. Go get that guy. He's out there. He's available. And Raheem Moster as well. Raheem is going to be that lead back for Miami. Will do you wonders for your team. It can't hurt. It can't hurt, right? I mean, not any more than what those guys are going to be hurting you whenever the time comes, whenever they're not starting anymore. Says, take on Jeff Wilson. Appreciate you being here once again, Vision. Thank you so much for joining us live. My take on Jeff Wilson is that his time is coming to an end. I think you should sell high on the guy. It's saddened to say because I am a Niners, and obviously I'm a Niners fan, and he's looking great, right? He's looking good. But once Elijah Mitchell comes back, once TDP comes back, you already see Tevin Coleman taking some snaps away from him. You saw it last week, and that's because they're already ahead, so they're running the ball a lot more. I say sell high on him. His time is coming to an end, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong, but on this one, I don't think I am. I really don't. But that's my take on him. What do you think, Vince?
I think you said it perfectly. You know, I took a risk and I drafted Elijah Mitchell this year. He got hurt. I'll probably never trust a running back from the 49ers again for fantasy purposes. But Wilson Jr. is doing very well right now. He's averaging, I think, almost 20 points a game. It's pretty good. It might be around the 15 range, but he's doing very good. He's helping the 49ers win. He's helping move the ball for Jimmy G as well, because Jimmy G needs someone who can run the ball effectively, and Wilson Jr. is doing that. But for fantasy purposes, he's not going to be a forever guy. It just always happens with Niners running backs. Shoot, even when Gore was back there, it was always, here or there, here or there. So in my opinion, he's just a guy to keep for now, but always try to make your roster better, especially if you can get rid of him, because you can make him someone else's problem.
Oh my gosh. It says, you think a package of Jeff Wilson Jr. and Njoku for Swift would be reasonable? I think it will be.
Yeah.
Wilson it's very much eye candy right now because of the points that he's putting up. And Njoku's a solid tight end. Mm-hmm. So if that person who owns Swift is dealing with an injury or dealing with a not so great tight end, I think it'll be pretty good. I think it'll be a win for you in the long run, 100%. Q Cole says, buy low on JT, 100% yes, buy low on him right now, take advantage of it. It says, I'm thinking about offering Olave and Monty. I would say yes, but if I'm not mistaken, you say you don't have any depth, right, in your team? I want to make sure of that, because I would say yes, but if you don't have any depth, I wouldn't even risk losing two guys, even though I do feel like JT is worth it. That's my take on that. Reed finally joined us here. I'm going to take him on. Hey, he's ready.
Let's go, guys.
He finally made it. Hey, welcome, Reed.
Guys, I fought through traffic. I conquered everything. There was a crash right next to me. It was crazy. I made it here for you guys, though.
Was it Tanya's corner? Was crashed?
Yeah, Tanya's corner is crashed. We're not using him anymore. He's not getting touches.
So you gonna drop him, Reed?
I won't drop him. I'll keep it on the roster for now
okay.
on some of my fantasy leagues, but some of them I'm gonna have to find another option maybe.
Reed, stop talking.
Sorry.
We have a 49ers fan here.
I apologize.
We're gonna stop everything because we take priority on Niners fans here, Vision. Appreciate you being here. Hopefully you're subscribed. Appreciate you even more, just that much more, just because you're a Niners fan. If you don't know already, every Friday I release a 49ers podcast. So on this channel, I release a video on the 49ers. He says, do you think the NFC West crown is in the 49ers hands? He's a big Niners fan. Am I in over my head? Just don't see them losing to the Cardinals and Seahawks. We match up very well in that division. Okay. I don't think you're in over your head. I don't think we are as elite as we were in 2019, just because our offense seems a little consistent. It's all into Jimmy's hands, and we got to stay healthy. That's the biggest part. We lost Bosa. It is a minor injury, but we lost Emmanuel Mosley. That's huge for us. I know we're getting Ward back. I know we're getting Jason Verrett back, but we don't know what they look like coming off this injury. Our defense, best in the league. Look at the stats, best in the league. I don't think you're in over your head. Cardinals going to have their hands full with us. We saw that we took advantage of that weak offensive line with the Rams and Seattle Seahawks. They had trouble with our defense. You saw it. So I don't think you're in over your head. You should be excited. We match up very well against our division. We just can't beat ourselves like we did 2 of those games out of the season against the Bears and the Broncos. Unacceptable. We should be undefeated right now, to be honest. I'm not trying to set – no, for real. I mean, honestly, we should have been. Not going to lie. Jam, I just realized the manager that has Swift picked up Walker as well. Oh!
He's stacked now.
Yeah, that's tough. Sorry to hear that, my guy. Should I hold on to Gabe Davis or trade high? Trade
high, bro.
Trade high.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, he's going to be getting some points, but he will not have a week like he did last week. The Bills did have an injury with Isaiah McKenzie, so he was sharing straight target share with Diggs and Davis. He's a great wide receiver. Will he be receiving the targets? Yeah. As far as the opportunities, the points, I don't think it's always going to be the same. And they just trampled on the Steelers as well. They took advantage of that defense. And next week they got the Chiefs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. But yeah, pretty cool. Good question. I didn't know we had some Niners fans in the chat. I'm very excited there. Don't shake your head, Reed.
We need some more Packer fans. We had that one guy. He hasn't been here in a while. I miss him.
Johnny Wisconsin.
Yeah, I miss that guy.
Johnny Wisconsin. We miss you, Johnny Wisconsin, if you're watching this. But Reed, we just talked about fantasy football. Do you have any input for us?
Guys, I've been working all day. I haven't taken a single look at my fantasy lineup.
Just not Tanyan, right?
Not Tanyan. Alan Lazard is great. Romeo Dobbs, get rid of not get rid of him. Be a little bit more wary of him. Tanyan, I mean, he's just not seeing snaps, and he's looking slow out there. I apologize to all you guys I led astray. He'll still get points here and there, but as far as what I thought he could be, he is not. Hopefully I'm wrong, but right now it does not look good for him.
Now, Reed. We had a lot of guys talking about Aaron Jones and trading for him or trading him away. What are your thoughts on that? Are the Packers gonna bring back the run game or not?
Guys, I feel bad for Reed. He probably woke up early to watch the London game and watch them lose, dude. It was so bad, dude. Such a game we just shouldn't have lost. Pay attention tomorrow. I'll be releasing a Packer Talk video about all my thoughts about what the Packers are. And there's so much to unpack, guys. I got to figure out this video.
No pun intended.
No fun. Yeah. But as far as Aaron Jones, how I feel about him right now, he's playing better than any back in the league, in my opinion. Yards per carry, he's beating every single person. But he's ranked 19th in carries. 19th out of running backs. That's crazy. I don't know why we're not giving him the ball. I don't know if we're trying to save him for the last part of the season or what, but it just doesn't make sense. We need to figure out ways to get him the ball. The reason why he didn't get so many carries this last game was because they were loading the box. Aaron Rodgers was checking out of run plays for pass plays and then just chucking it out of the. Oh my god, dude! But Aaron Jones, he's amazing. I would try to keep him on your team or trade for him because I hope that we're going to figure out this run game. Q Cole says I drafted AJ Dillon to be my running back too, and it isn't looking too good. I've still got Jamal Williams over him almost every week. AJ Dillon, he's going to figure it out, and you want to keep him on your team. you're going to want to keep on your team because Aaron Jones will miss a game or two. He will. That is a guarantee. He always gets injured for a game or two. Hopefully it's just a game or two, but you wanted to have him as your handcuff running back. Definitely do not get rid of him.
Ooh, question for me. Yeah. What do I think about Geno through 5 weeks? I am so impressed. When I got the news, I was at school studying for a test, and I got the news that Russell Wilson got traded for a buttload of picks, as well as a guy who doesn't play, and I will not say his name because he'll never play for the Seahawks. So Geno Smith is a godsend right now. He is pretty much the number one quarterback as it is in QBR, and his completion percentage is through the roof. It's 75% right now. That's insane to hear through 5 weeks. So I am very happy with him. But other than that, I mean, he's just a quarterback that's holding a place right now. We're going to draft a quarterback in this draft, in my opinion. But Geno Smith will be our quarterback for this year and half of next year.
All right. I'll answer this one. Do you think Randall Cobb's performance was a one-off, or do you think he's a decent waiver wire pickup? The only way I would pick him up is if there's nobody available in your league. Maybe you have a 14-person league and there's nobody. It is a one-off. I'm gonna give you two sides of it. Aaron Rodgers on the past Pat McAfee show. I didn't watch today though because I've been so busy. But he did say he wanted to give Randall Cobb more touches. He thought he should get more touches, and then that happened. He gave him, I think, 13 targets or something like that. But this is a one-off. Randall Cobb, he's not the same player that he used to be. I think I said it in preseason fantasy talk. I'm not sure if I did, but I knew he was going to get one-offs here and there. He's that type of player that it's third and Cobb, you give him the ball. But it's third and Cobb, dude. But it's a one-off. He's not going to be able to do this week to week. Do not trust him. Do not start him unless you somehow know some insider information that I do not.
What's up, Penny Feather? Appreciate you being here, man. It says, sup, fellas. Trade Naji and Amon-Ra for JT. I have Pierce at RB2, CD, and Jamar at receiver. You said you have Pierce at RB2. I wonder who your RB1 is. Obviously, it will be JT if you do get that trade, but hopefully it's not Naji. If it is Naji as your RB1, I would take that trade in a heartbeat. But CD and Jamar at receiver, they're not horrible. I don't see those guys as, especially CD, I don't see them as dynamic as people would think. But I like that trade. Amon-Ra, he is struggling right now coming off an injury. I do feel like he has a huge upside with the Lions later on since he is clearly the wide receiver one and will be getting the targets. But I still like JT. Buy low for JT. I think I don't want to say you're overpaying for him, but Amon-Ra is pretty much eye candy there. But I'll like that trade. He says Naji is my RB1 because Javonte Williams.
Ooh,
I'll take that trade.
I wouldn't take it.
I would say I would not take that either. I have JT on one of my leagues, and I'm thinking of just keeping him on the bench until he produces again. I drafted him in the first round thinking that he was going to be all that in a bag of chips. But right now he's averaging less than 13 points. He's averaging 12.5. So Naji is not the answer either, but I would not trade Amon-Ra for JT unless I'm getting something else with it, because JT right now will not carry your team. Amon-Ra will into the future because I think the Lions are going to continue to use him. But keep Pierce for sure. Pierce is going to be good for the next few weeks. Hopefully he can keep it going there with the Texans. But CD and Jamar, they're also not producing that much. Jamar is a decent receiver, but he's not what he was last year. So go ahead and tell us your bench. I want to see more of who you have.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Reed.
I want to give my take on this.
Okay.
I definitely do not think you should take this trade. You're giving away too much, in my opinion, for JT. My bold prediction this week for JT, for the league, but for JT, is that he's washed. I don't think he is what he used to be. I was a big fan of him, but I do not think that he is what we thought he was when we all drafted him as number one or number two. I think you should definitely not trade for JT, in my opinion, unless you have the best trade. But this is giving away too much, in my opinion.
Vision says, I feel that Jimmy is giving Brandon more targets this year. Opinions on why? I don't think he is. We saw that Jimmy G gave Brandon Ayuk a lot of targets this past week, but weeks before that, I mean, Ayuk didn't receive a target in the second half on both games prior to this past week, and that's not okay. I think they really hit up the drawing board, and they see that Brandon Ayuk is a dynamic player and is reliable. I see him using all his receivers, when it would be Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Jawan Jennings, especially in that third down, on reasons why they're utilizing him, because he's a dynamic player. You see him, as soon as the ball gets into his hands, he makes something happen. He goes out there. His yak yards are amazing. I could go on and on about this, but if we're talking fantasy-wise, I wouldn't talk I would have picked him up. Fantasy-wise. Since talking about another league of mine here, drafting Russ, and I am tired of the disappointing performances. It is unreasonable to drop him for Geno. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks did. And after last year, I did not trust Russ at all. Russ is not cooking. He's what did I say last week? He's cooking with spaghetti hot dog, hot dog spaghetti, something like that.
Hot dog cereal or something.
Hot dog cereal. Yeah, he does not look good. Offensive play calling does not look good, so that's not going to help him either way. I would say try to trade him. Don't even try to sell high. Just sell him for a bag of chips if you can. Yeah, anything. But I don't think he's a seasoned quarterback for fantasy. Penny Feather says, okay, my bench running backs is Pollard, Etienne, Antonio Gibson, but I'll probably drop him, which you should. And my bench receivers are Scary Terry. I say Scary Terry. I say Elijah Moore, who is also I'm going to drop. I wouldn't say drop. I would say try to sell. Try to sell if you can. Like I said, everybody has their price, and those are guys that shouldn't be available to anyone on the waiver wire. But yeah, try to sell those guys. But what do you guys think after knowing that? While you guys answer that, I'll be right back.
All right.
Go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and look farther up. So he had Naji and Pierce right now, as well as Amon-Ra. So you have Pollard and Etienne as your other running backs. I think Pollard and Etienne are serviceable, but they aren't going to be the answer for that long. Antonio Gibson, he's not going to be the running back one for much longer. We did talk about Brian Robinson earlier, who might overtake him, because this past game Brian Robinson had 9 carries versus 3 for Antonio Gibson. So that was very strange, but looks like the writing on the wall just for like a lot of teams. A lot of these new running backs that were drafted this year are coming in and they're making a difference. So everybody's trying it out. But your bench is Scary Terry. Don't like him too much. Elijah Moore, don't really like him too much either. But just because Corey Davis is taking over and Tyler Conklin as well. But again, just like AJ said, don't drop them. But if you can make a trade for a better wide receiver or a better running back without giving away Amon-Ra, you can give away Naji, you can give away possibly Etienne and try to get something better than Etienne. You can give away Scary Terry and Elijah Moore, but just make sure you're getting someone who's going to be a starter for you, who's not injury prone, and someone who's averaging more than 12 or 13 points, because you want to win in your league. You have to be able to give away multiple guys for guys who are going to be consistent and give you a lot of points.
All right.
But yeah, let's see. There's a next question, right? Oh, got it. Let's see. Caden, the Colts fan. Ooh, we haven't had a Colts fan on here in a while, I believe.
Yeah.
I do have a couple friends who are Colts fans, but it says, would you trade Godwin for ETN? It just depends on your bench, but they're averaging the same amount of points right now. Godwin has been injured. He might get injured again, in my opinion. He's always having injury problems. ETN, they're just so unpredictable with the Jaguars. And as a Colts fan, you should know that because you play them twice a year. But ETN, I mean, he's decent, but I want to hear what your running back core is. So tell us what your bench is. Tell us what your other running backs are.
Yeah. Hey, Kate, appreciate you being here, my guy. Thank you so much for joining us, Fantasy Football Talk Live. We do this every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. But, yeah, I don't like ETN because he does split that backfield with Robinson, and they kind of have a weird scenario that Jacksonville Jaguars do. They use Robinson whenever they're winning, and whenever they're losing, it seems like ETN's getting the ball a little bit more. So I just don't like that. It will be a matchup play. I like Godwin more than here. But good question. Good question. Where we at? We got a lot of questions here.
Yeah, we do.
We were right
We're
here.
Right here's the next one. Yeah.
Says just check and saw it's Amon's bye week, so I can just move Evans into a wide receiver spot and Camara into the flex. Hey man, like I said, a great scenario to have. Good for you. Good for you. Applause for that guy. He says Alpha Gettys with milk. Oh yeah, 100%. That is what Russ is cooking with. Says if I drop Antonio Gibson or Elijah Moore, I doubt I'll miss them. Got guys like Kenneth Walker. Ooh, nice. Jeff Wilson, nice. And Monty on waivers. Good stuff, my guy. I said,
I like the order.
I do as well. And like I said earlier, trying to sell high on Jeff Wilson right now, his time is coming to an end. It's very sad, very unfortunate, but you don't want to be that guy stuck with Jeff Wilson that's not going to be producing anymore or not be producing as much as he used to. It says, how much value does Kelsey have? I was thinking on getting Diggs and Barkley for him. Kelsey is the number one fantasy player on earth right now. Okay, so everyone wants Kelsey. I'll give you a little story. I was 4-0. I went up against a guy who was 0-4. I was losing by 30 points. I had one guy left to play, and it was Travis Kelsey. He scored 33 points, I think, and won the game. I'm still undefeated because of that man right there. He is highly sought after. Now, will they give up Diggs and Barkley for him? I don't think they would, but it wouldn't hurt to try if you are able to get rid of Kelsey. But if I were you, don't get rid of Kelsey. Don't do it. I know as a Niners fan, you probably hate the Chiefs, as do I, but don't do it. Not worth it. Nick Poppage says, this is my team. Appreciate you being here, Nick. This is my team. 10-man PPR, 5-0. Lamar, CMC, Lenny. Who's Lenny? Leonard Fournette. There you go. Leonard Fournette. Great. Awesome roster. Jamar Chase, CD, Kelsey, Godwin, Judy, Dobbs, Jacoby Myers, Mostert, Rashad White, IR, Jameson Williams. Who do you think I could trade to get Pierce? Who do you think you could trade to get Pierce? Well, why would you want a running back? Honestly, I would work on your wide receiver room.
Yeah, wide receiver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As far as rushers, you got CMC, Leonard Fournette, who had an amazing week last week. CMC is awesome as well. I could see where you want to get running backs, but Raheem Moster seems to be transitioning to that running back one spot for the Miami Dolphins, so I like him. And then I thought I saw Kenneth Walker on here. No, I didn't. I would, if I were you, I would go get Kenneth Walker off of waivers. For me, I feel like he's more valuable than Pierce, in my opinion. Do you guys agree there?
I would agree.
Nice. Reed's like, oh no.
I'm doing something right now for you guys.
So my bench is Keenan Allen and DK Metcalf. Okay, that's awesome. Let's see. What did you put? You said, okay, my bench RBs, Evian.
Yeah, he wants to trade Godwin for ETN. In my opinion, I'm assuming that you need to work on running backs. So go ahead and send your running backs as well. We want to see like who you're working with and why you want ETN. But yeah, I mean that's a good duo to have. Keenan Allen, he's going to come back from injury, do well. DK Metcalf is averaging around 20 points right now, so that's also good for you. But yeah, send us your running backs as well.
Cody says that James Conner and Russ for Sutton. He's got Carr starting at QB. I don't think he'll go for that trade for Russ for Carr, but he would definitely try to take James Conner away from you. I don't think Sutton is worth as much as James Conner. I know he's been getting injured this year, but James Conner has way higher of an upside when it comes to fantasy football. And Sutton, he's cooking out there with Russ. It's a burning kitchen. So I wouldn't make that trade. Just call me crazy, but I still have hope for James Conner this season. Katie says he doesn't have a running back on his bench currently.
Yeah, he says he has Jeff Wilson and Reese Hall as his starters and Elijah Mitchell on the IR spot. So you definitely do need some some running back help. Wow. You do have a predicament there.
Yeah.
Who he should get.
Trade Jeff Wilson, trade him high, get a mid-tier, get two mid-tiers running backs or a mid-tier running back and a mid-tier wide receiver, go to the waiver wire, try to pick up Raheem Moster or try to pick up Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker should be on top of everyone's priority list on waiver wires. Nick says, Pierce playoff schedule is really nice and he would be great. I love that. I love that you are looking into playoff schedules already. So obviously you are a winner and you are doing great this season, but it is always great to look ahead. So if you're already looking at the playoff schedule for Pierce, then I would say, hey, go for it. That means you have a winning record. try it out. Pierce, it's just been 1 week, but he's getting more receptions than Rex Burkhead. So that is ideal for you guys. Hopefully he can stay healthy, not, trying to predict anything, but I like that. What was the initial trade for him?
For Nick Popich?
He could get Pierce. Oh, yeah. So he just wanted to trade someone for Pierce. Yeah. So try to get Pierce. He will look very good on that team. That's a good team right there. My starting two is Jeff Wilson and Reese Hall. We went over that. With Elijah Mitchell, my IR spot. I wouldn't get too high on Elijah Mitchell. And once he is healthy, that means TDP is going to be healthy. That means Jeff Wilson Jr. is still going to be healthy. Tevin Coleman, who played for the Niners last week, is going to be healthy. And the way Kyle Shanahan likes to run his offense, he likes to run that three-headed monster. Right now, you don't see it because 2 of the 3 starting running backs are gone. And you saw a little bit of Coleman last week. That was his first time playing with the Niners this season. What to do with Kittle right now has not hit his projected points in any of the weeks, and he will not. Because I have like about 2 games that he does amazing. Trade him, get rid of him, get out of that situation. As a 49ers fan, it pays me to say, but fantasy wise, he is not top tier. He's a top tier tight end in the league, but fantasy, he is not. Try to get rid of him, try to get something for him. But yeah, that's my opinion. You guys agree there?
Yeah, get anything but Kittle.
Anything but Kittle. So my team is Lamar, Jeff Wilson, Hall. We went over this as well, right?
Yeah. My only thing for him, he needs running back core. I would say trade Jamar Chase. You have Godwin and Allen and DK. So those guys are alternating at your flex position. I don't think Jamar Chase is going to be the guy anymore. But I think Keenan Allen could possibly, when he does come back from injury, go ahead and trade one of those guys and try to get like a DeAndre Swift or even maybe David Montgomery for one of those guys. You have a lot of depth at wide receivers, so go ahead and do that.
Hey, Penny Feather, appreciate the sub. As you guys can tell, we are a small channel. We are trying to grow, so appreciate that. We are now on the road for 300. Since we hit 200 subscribers, we are giving away this autograph Darius Leonard linebacker mini football helmet out there. I know we got a Colts fan here, so Caden, if you are interested, make sure you hit that sub. We are going to be releasing the information hopefully tomorrow or Thursday on how to enter this giveaway. Basically, all you got to do is make sure you're subscribed, but stay tuned. This is our information down below. Vincent, do you guys have a Discord? I believe Reed just put that down there. So that is our Discord. Help us get it active. Right now, we do have a Discord. It's not very active. If we get more people in there, let's stir it up, man. Let's talk some football.
Somebody just posted their fantasy lineup on there.
Cool. Reed, you want to keep us updated with that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Says Pierce playoff schedule is KC, Tennessee, Jaguars, and Colts, especially in a PPR league. I can see him getting a lot of receptions. Hopefully he stays consistent. We don't want to see that wavelength with him and Rex Burkhead anymore. It's hard to say because last week he looked good and you just don't want to jump the gun. But if you're that confident, which you should be with that team, I say why not, right? Always try to better your team. It says, do I drop the 49ers defense this week for the Rams? You're going to drop the 49ers defense for the Rams? Who are the Rams playing up against? Rams are going against the Panthers. I do think the Rams will have probably a better outcome than the Niners, but you got to remember the Niners are going against the Falcons as well.
Yeah, man, don't drop those Niners.
Yeah, because if you drop them, someone else is going to pick them up. The last time I saw, the Niners were owning 95% of leagues. So if you drop them, you're not going to get them back. I promise you that. So if you have extra room, if you want to get greedy, pick up the Rams, but I don't think it's worth dropping the Niners. They're still going to do good against the Falcons. He says went 0 RB and is working out so far. I was very skeptical about that skill set when it comes to the draft, getting all wide receivers. And I think I might try that out next year. I'm taking a lot of notes this year, and there's a lot of stuff that I do like and a lot of stuff that I don't like. But one thing's for sure, doesn't matter if you're drafting running backs or wide receivers, there's always going to be players throughout the whole season to pick up. Always. Also, who should I start as my wide receiver 2 between Deontay Johnson, Lazard, Drake London, or Keenan Allen if he plays? I don't like these options, my guy. I don't like it. Deontay Johnson is fighting with number 1 targets with Pickens, so that it kind of looks bad. Lazard, I have this here in my notes. All Packers wide receivers, there's too much sharing going on. Aaron Rodgers does not have the confidence with his wide receivers, so it's being shared amongst all of them. Drake London, they're going against a very hot Niners defense. I don't think he's going to be scoring a lot. The Niners have only allowed, I think, 1 touchdown per game so far. So I don't think that's going to look good. Or Keenan Allen, if he plays, he is coming off an injury. I don't know. They're going against the Broncos, so I could see that. I do like that. I would say either play it safe with Lazard or Keenan Allen. What do you guys think here?
Yeah, if Keenan Allen can play for sure all the time, in my opinion, I know Lazard is getting like all his stuff shared right now, but I would go with Lazard. I don't trust Drake London against the 49ers. He is doing very well lately, but I do not trust him against the Niners. I think that Marcus Mariota is going to have a lot of trouble going up against that defense. He's going to get sacked a lot. He's going to get a lot of pressure in his face. And even though the Niners lost a lot of cornerbacks and they do have, what's his name? He is injured on the D-line. He's their best defensive player, but his name isn't coming up with me and ages off the screen. But Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa, yeah. Nick Bosa's injured. Bosa. I don't know if he is going to come back. AJ will know a little bit more about that, but I think Lazard and Keenan Allen are the guys to go with here. Deontay Johnson, don't trust him. Won't trust him all season. Drake London, just not this game.
Who could I trade for Jeff Wilson and Elijah Mitchell for? It's probably too late by now, but try to get someone like Reese Hall. If you can't, he says he does not need a wide receiver. Yeah. So try to get someone like Reese Hall. If you can't, buy low on DeAndre Swift, buy low on Jonathan Taylor right now. Get J.K. Dobbins and a little bit more. Montgomery, another person you could get, but those are the players who I would trade for.
He already has Breece Hall.
Oh, he has Breece Hall?
Yeah.
Okay, then buy low on Swift, buy low on JT, get J.K. Dobbins. You know, don't get J.K. Dobbins straight up, though. You could get a little bit more with those guys. But here we go. We got another. It says, my team is on Discord. What can I do better? Can you zoom in on that, Reed, by any chance?
I'm trying to figure that out, but I don't think so. But I can read it out to you. Jalen Hurts, Raheem Mostert, Breece Hall, Michael Thomas, Marquise Brown, Travis Kelce, Romeo Doubs, then bench Herbert, Josh Jacobs, Amon St. Brown, Tyler Higbee, and then you have the defenses and kicker right there.
You saying what he could do better?
Yeah, he wants to know what he can do better.
I would say get someone else besides Dobbs. Reed just told us that Dobbs is not the guy to keep. Be very wary of him. Yeah, maybe. We could be wrong here, but it's just dependent on how the Packers do in later games.
So you guys are basically hitting the nail right on the head. Is just reinforcing that wide receiver room. Romeo Doubs, he is going to have some good upside, but he's going to be sharing all those targets with Cobb and Lazard. And then you also have some Michael Thomas there, which he did very well at the beginning of the season to start off with, but he is dealing with injuries. And now we see Chris Olave taking that lead role. I'm not saying that he is going to be the wide receiver one, but I'm just saying he gained a lot more trust within that team. And with inconsistent quarterback play, that's just a worrisome. What I would do, I would try to get some solid wide receivers for you. Buy low on someone like Christian Kirk. Buy low on someone like Michael Pittman. I think I have it right here on my other screen. But some people to buy low on: Christian Kirk, Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman, all wide receivers they could go out there and get on a very low price right now.
What about Raheem Mostert? I mean, I know he's only starting because he has Josh Jacobs on a bye, but Raheem Mostert isn't the best as a running back one either.
Right now, I'm not entirely confident in him, but we did go over some stats right here. Raheem Mostert blew out the water with the other two running backs as far as snap counts and as far as attempts by over 60%. So if that continues on, I don't think Raheem Mostert's a bad play there. Could I pair Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell, and Godwin for Mixon, or is that not realistic? Yeah, it is realistic, but I don't think you need to pair 3 up for Mixon. That's a little too much.
I would go Jeff Wilson and Godwin, in my opinion, but if you can swing the Elijah Mitchell and Godwin for Mixon, that would be your best ideal trade.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to be believing in Elijah Mitchell. So Jeff Wilson and Godwin for Mixon, I definitely save Elijah Mitchell because he could still be a low end flex for your team. But yeah, that is pretty realistic there. Another tight end trade if I'm giving up Kittle. Another tight end to trade for. Not Tanyan. You could get someone like Njoku. Right now on the waiver wire, you could go get Hayden Hurst.
Try to go get someone like Fearmouth too. Even though
Fearmouth just got injured.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, Fearmouth just got in. He left the scene early.
Yeah,
so if you want, I mean, I wouldn't even pick up the backup for Pittsburgh. We didn't do that.
Shoot, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys to pick up on the waiver wire. You don't always have to trade. I know trading is the very tempting thing because you want to get the best of the best. But if your team is doing well, go ahead and see what the waiver wire has to offer, because we know your team is good, bro.
I want to say congratulations to Caden. He traded Alvin Camara for him and DK last week. I like Alvin Camara, but not as much as I like Hall. I love Hall, and then you get DK to sprinkle that cherry on top, or whatever you want to say. Great trade, big dubs for you. Congratulations, Caden. Super happy for you. It says Swift and JT were already traded in my leagues. Hey, traded again. Try to do it again. Hey, you do everything in your power possible to have a really good team. Like I said, if you haven't yet, like I said, we have so many comments here. Go out there, go try to get Kenneth Walker off of waivers. Should be top of everyone's priority list. He is a running back one for any fantasy team and will upgrade your team tremendously. Doesn't matter who you have. It says, my bad, I have both Rams and 49ers defense. Which should I start this week though? Niners have the best defense in the freaking league. I'm confident in my team. Bless you. If I had that option, I would choose the Niners just because of the history. But Rams is not a bad choice either. Going against the Broncos, but we've seen Russell Wilson get points on the board, not purposely, but they do score points. Niners have only allowed one touchdown at most for each team that they played up against, and I don't think the Falcons are that much better than the teams that we already faced. Should I offer a guy like Jamar for Taylor? We saw his lineup already, right?
Yeah, it's farther up.
Jamar Chase, I like the targets that he gets. Jonathan Taylor, he is going to be that workload bell cow of the team whenever he does get healthy. If you could make that move, I think it's a high risk move, but I think it's a risk move that could definitely pay off towards the end if it does work out in your favor. Y'all agree?
I know Reed doesn't.
Yeah, I can tell that.
I can see a world where JT comes back and he starts doing well at the end of the season, so it's not a bad trade. But I could also see the same thing for Jamar Chase. I know you need a running back room, but try not to go over those after those guys who did good last year. Go after the guys that are doing good currently and that you see are going to do good for a long time to come. Nice, man. A water break for sure. We've been talking for 2 hours, so it's kind of wild. But yeah, try to go for some mid-tier running backs. Don't try to go for the big bell cows like JT, even though he's not doing amazing right now. Just go for some guys like David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Mixon. See if you can get someone like Aaron Jones, who's been doing good lately. Try to get those guys in the middle because those are the guys that are going to be consistent. They're going to stay healthy. And JT right now, he's a little iffy. So you don't want to bite too hard on that.
Oh, you do not. Ross Bob, appreciate you being here live on the channel, my guy. We go live every Tuesday, 6 o'clock for Fantasy Football Talk. We post videos almost every day of the week, and we're trying to get into a new transition to help more and more people out for fantasy football. So let us know if you do like this video by hitting that subscribe button. It helps out a lot. But he says, should I trade away Devontae Adams and David Montgomery for Lamb, Josh Jacobs, and Stevenson? Josh Jacobs is on that rise. I've been saying it. That's why I said draft him in the 7th round because he is available at that time. Stevenson, you have Damian Harris, who is injured, who will be gone for at least 4 weeks, and he's already taken up the running back one spots anyways. Now, I'm a little worried about leaving Devontae Adams and Montgomery because they are a huge workload. I don't think it's a bad trade depending on your roster, who you have on your bench. This could be good reinforcements, but these are two guys that rack up a lot of points. But I think Jacobs and Stevenson has a lot of upside. Safety with CeeDee Lamb, he will be getting the targets and the opportunity to do so. If I were in your hands, I would say go for it. Why not? What do you guys think here?
I wouldn't want to trade away Devontae Adams, honestly. He just had 2 touchdowns in a huge game against the Chiefs. I think him and Derek Carr are really clicking. Now, Devontae Adams likes to hit cameraman and probably gets suspended for it, so that worries me for him. But and then in a day, he's a beast, and he's going to be able to put up points. I don't like Lamb. It could go well for you. It couldn't go well for you. I wouldn't do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Josh Jacobs is doing really well right now, but so is Devontae Adams. David Montgomery is injury prone. I know we're saying going after him for some certain people, but again, show us who you have on your bench because we want to know why you're going after so many running backs as well. So we want to see what depth you have.
You know what? No, you guys are right. I like this. Devontae Adams, he is that wide receiver one. He's getting that targets with Carr, especially with Darren Waller getting injured. You can see a lot more shares for Devontae Adams, and David Montgomery will be that bell cow of that horrible offense. So I will say keep those guys. You're good where you're at. Don't take that trade. Those guys are good players, but let's think about the long run. I think these guys in the long run are going to be more beneficial for you. So good job, you guys. Thank you. But Bison says, I feel that any team that has too many snap shares in that position, you shouldn't start those players like the 49ers running backs or even the Falcons backfield. Yes, you could easily compare that to the wide receiver core for the Packers. You could easily compare that to the running back core for Washington. Very similar situations, hard to start because very inconsistent. And I thought that way with Miami, but I think Raheem Moster will take that lead role. Bro says, should I gamble on Pitts? And it looks like Vison helped us out. He says, in my opinion, Pitts is the biggest fail for this week. He's going against, he's not going to get any points going against the 49ers. That's damn right, brother. He's not going to get any points whatsoever. But good suggestion. Vison would give you credit there. I think you should take his advice, Rar, which I do think he said thank you. It says, if Higbee is available, he's a better option or any of the tight end. Look, we didn't get this guy on the show. Look, this guy's ready. Taking our job. Thank you, man. Thank you, Vison. Appreciate you being here. Dylan Varno, appreciate you being here live. I see AJ a lot. I was getting excited. I thought he was calling me out, but obviously not. It says, I have the option to get either AJ Brown or Deebo Samuel. Who would you value more? If it's a redraft league, I feel like AJ Brown has a lot of an easier schedule.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a big Deebo guy. You guys see, I'm a Niners fan, right? I love Deebo Samuel, but one thing that scares about me every time he hits the field is he going to get injured, right? Will he be utilized a lot? Yes, as far as rushing and catching the ball. So he's definitely out there. But A.J. Brown looks like he's cooking over there in Philadelphia. So I like A.J. Brown more here. So if you had an option, definitely get A.J. Brown over Deebo. Both are very nice options, but A.J. Brown shines a little bit more. Fantasy wise, not saying the league wise, all right? So don't twist my words. But you guys agree here?
I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, like I said, appreciate you being here live, Dylan. If you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button. It helps out a ton. We just hit over 200 subscribers. We are giving away this Darius Leonard signed autographed mini helmet. So thank you so very much for the support. So should I trade Lamar for a lower end QB and a solid RB? Just depends, because Lamar is an awesome dude. He rushes a lot. He gets the touchdowns. He gets points. So a lower end QB, I would say any lower than Joe Burrow. If it's lower than Joe Burrow, don't do it. I don't care how solid the running back is. Lamar is too valuable for that. So I'm talking, get someone like Hurts, get someone like Kyler Murray, get someone like, who else am I thinking of here? Hurts, Murray, Patrick Mahomes. I'm just going to throw Patrick Mahomes. I doubt that's even possible, but just in case. It says, thanks for the suggestion. There you go. Is that an OSU hat? Go Pokes. I do like Oklahoma State Cowboys. I do root for them, but that is where we got our design from, or I made it. It says NSP. So I love the Cowboys. They're not my favorite college team. Go Blue, go Michigan. But I was trying to find a concept to make our logo, which I do make all of our logos. I make our thumbnails. I do all that kind of work. And I was very intrigued with the OSU because it's very modern and it's very slick and it looks just great. So I installed NSP on there, and that is our logo until we get copyrighted or whatever, which I don't think we will.
Never.
Yeah, never. We're too legit to quit. But appreciate it, man. Yeah, go. Says go Pokes. But Ross Bob says Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, Romeo Dobbs, or should I say Romeo Dubes, Amari Cooper, Tyler Higbee, Leonard Fournette, bench Juju, get rid of him. J.D. McKissick, get rid of him. D. Hopkins, nice. Devontae Adams, nice. Cordero Patterson, hopefully he gets better soon. But what are you just showing off your team?
No, he was saying
should I trade away
Devontae
Adams and David Montgomery for Lamb and Jacobs? I think you're sitting pretty right there, man. I think you're sitting very pretty. The only people I don't like on your team is Juju and J.D. McKissick. J.D. McKissick, he will be the running back to get the targets. but he is fighting. He probably won't be getting as many rush attempts as Robinson and Antonio Gibson. Juju Smith-Schuster, you saw him get a couple receptions last week, but that is a shared offense with MVS, Hardman, Juju, and of course, the king of fantasy, Travis Kelce. Did we finally get through all of our questions?
We just got another one.
Did. Oh, it's from Caden.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, we're all fighting over here. It says, what about Kyler and Aaron Jones? And I give up Lamar and Jeff Wilson. I don't like Aaron Jones there. Kyler Murray, I could see right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Aaron Jones is incredible, but I still wouldn't take this trade.
Right. I would have taken it. Aaron Jones is incredible, right? But fantasy-wise, I still have high upside on A.J. Dillon later on in the season. He's always going to be sharing the snaps with A.J. Dillon. So I don't really like that. I don't think it'll be worth it on your end. I think Lamar is worth more than Kyler Murray and Aaron Jones. Jeff Wilson, I do want you to sell high, and right there, you're selling evenly. Okay, you got to sell high. Get your money's worth. So swindle some people. Get that last person in the last place of your league. Swindle them, all right? Got to do what you got to do. Jeez, man, we gotta. This is great. I do want to say thank you to everyone that's here. Once again, if you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We go live fantasy football talk every Tuesday at 6:00, and we love doing it. We're on. We've been on for over 2 hours for you guys, just answering your questions because we just love doing this. Appreciate you guys. Help us get to 300. Help us. It says I'm getting offered Higbee for Kittle. One for one. Should I?
Yeah. Oh, just like 1 for 1.
Yeah, yes. I would do that.
Who's offering you that? You do it. Do it. Yeah, like I said, you might regret it a game or two, maybe 3 games, because Kittle will have an upside. He might have an upside against the Falcons. They don't have the greatest defense, and Kittle might score 20, 30 points. Don't get discouraged, okay, because it's not consistent. This next following weeks, he's going to be utilized more and more as a blocker, and I'll tell you why. The 49ers are dealing with a lot of injuries on their offensive line, and they are a run-heavy team. So what are they going to do? They're going to have Kyle Juszczyk, they're going to have George Kittle help out in the blocking scheme more than they are as far as targets. I think for the past season, this whole season, has been seen at most 3 targets a game. It's not enough. It's not enough. And I know he missed that touchdown. His right foot didn't get in, but honestly, how far could that have gotten you? But yeah, I'll take that trade 100%. Chiefs RB for Reese Hall. Are you talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or are you talking about Jet McKinnon? If it's either or, do it. If someone's willing to give up Reese Hall, what am I saying? If it's either or those running backs, do it. I could easily see Jet McKinnon getting the majority of the snaps for the Chiefs going forward. He's just a pass catching back. The way they're running that offense, he just looks more appealing for Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, if you have that opportunity, get it 100%. Get that good team that you already have and just skyrocket it even more. Looks like we're good. I do want to say this one more time. While our information is down below, find us on Twitter, Facebook. You guys now have access to our Discord. Email us, especially if you want information like this. So I do this every single week, guys. I do this on Monday night, and I do waiver wire pickups as far as quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. I put all the information in there, roster percentage, average points, targets, and I put my little notes and what I think they're going to do, why I think you should pick them up. And I also go through injuries or whatever happens the week prior to that, who to drop, who to start, who to sit, buy low, sell high. I do all that just for you guys. So if you guys are interested in getting into that kind of stuff, let us know in the DMs. Send us an email and we'll get you guys involved. It's free of charge. For you guys, for the fans, just by being subscribed is more than enough. We are more than happy with you guys. Thank you all so much. You guys have anything else to add before we skedaddle on up here?
No, man. Just thanks for subscribing, guys, and keep the questions coming every week, and we'll answer them as best as we can with our knowledge.
Yes, I echo what Vincent said, and I'd like to give a public apology for what I have done to you guys for Robert Tonyan.
I'm sure
you guys have to clip that. Yeah. Oh man, that stinks, man. It stings, but you know what? At least you have a good team. You get to fight for the rest of the season. Keep looking up. Don't let that mistake happen again. Go get Tyler Higbee. Go get Reese Hall, and just better your team. thank you all so much for being here. We don't know what we're going to do yet. Saturday, we might go live again just because we had such a great outcome last week. It's a big maybe, but if we go live again, we'll talk some fantasy football for you guys. And thank you all so much for subscribing. Hit that notification bell so you guys know when we are going live so we can answer whatever questions you guys have. Thank you all so much. And until next time, you guys, keep on grinding.